This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
What's up, Tru Heel Heat?
Tru Heel Heat.
What's up? Tru Heel Heat. All hands is on me.
Hey guys, it's Thunder Rosa and welcome to Tru Heel Heat.
Check the show skin. New York, we know where we at. We on the East Coast, but we from the West Coast. But it's all love, dog. Tru Heel Heat. Yee.
Hey, you fucked that all up.
What a week in professional wrestling. We've stepped through the forbidden door and we're making our way through a heat wave to put money in the bank. But it's been a crazy week with Beach Break in between. And we're going to answer the question, who is AEW's top heel, the number one heel in the company? Have they solved their top heel problem over the last week? We'll cover Forbidden Door and we'll give you our final predictions for NXT Heatwave as well as tonight's WWE Money in the Bank. It's the Flagship Podcast. Get your plate because the Saturday morning cookout is on. Hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for Tru Heel Heat 284 Forbidden Money Heat Wave or Heat Wave Money. I don't know which way we're going, but we're going to the top because it's the Flagship Podcast. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. We appreciate y'all for watching us on demand. And I am joined by the True Draw himself. It is Josh. How are you doing?
Doing well. Just wanted to tell everybody that, I called Sid and I wanted him to start on time.
Appreciate you for letting me know to start on time. And I did start on time this week. So I am off to a good start. I'm not on CP time this week, folks. We're off to a good start on the show, and we appreciate y'all.
Man. Yeah, I personally didn't want to upset the fans. It makes me feel like shit when I upset the fans.
You don't want a certain section of the fans to feel any type of way. And, Vince McMahon, he wanted to call it wrestling extravaganza, but I told him WrestleMania and the rest is history. The rest is history. Yes, we are here to talk about the WrestleMania doc. We're discussing the latest wrestling news, including who is AEW's biggest heel now after MJF's heel turn, Hangman Adam Page's return, Mercedes Mone embracing the heat that she got in New York City. We're going to have a recap of This Week in Wrestling with AEW NJPW's Forbidden Door, featuring Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay's Match of the Year candidate. Dynamite Beach Break, one of the best episodes of Dynamite all year, or the very best maybe, with MJF's heel turn, Hangman Adam Page's return, Britt and Mercedes Mone going head to head. You also had Rampage last night. You had ROH TV. WWE had a full slate with SmackDown in Toronto. You had Raw in Boston. NXT with a very entertaining street fight. Yeah, NJPW Soul finale, as NJPW is embracing the youth movement with the G1 Climax and the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. And you also had TNA Impact that had some NXT invasion going on. We'll give you our matches of the week, our best and worst of the week, as well as final predictions for Money in the Bank tonight, as well as NXT Heatwave tomorrow night. But we got a lot to discuss, and we appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all for watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, if you're watching us on Facebook, I see we already got one thumbs up. Give us another thumbs up. Give us a heart emoji, an angry emoji, a laughing emoji. However, This Week in Professional Wrestling made you feel, you can let us know with those emotes. If you're watching us on the Twitter page, you could drop the heart and retweet the video. It helps us out so much. But if you're watching on any other platform, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys and highlight your comments. But of course, if you want to make sure your comment is highlighted on screen and you want to show the best way to show your support to what we do here at the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, I would say the most consistent wrestling YouTube channel in the land. 7 days a week, you get plenty of content, whether it's shorts, videos, or live streams. You can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here. Or as Jimmy Macaram always says, SP3, you got 2 kids, or he calls it 2 mistakes, but it's not a mistake to me. My kids are not that. Definitely not Harlem. Definitely not Sydney. And speaking of which,
I'm eating my Happy Meal. I'm coming, Conan.
you came like right on cue. You had to be watching us to come on cue like that. So you want to tell the people to like, share, and subscribe?
Like, subscribe.
And send a super chat.
What's his name?
That's Josh. Say hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
And say
Hi.
send a super chat so I can buy more clothes.
Okay.
Say send super chat.
Sound super chat.
There we go. Don't let a kid down. She's only 4.
My eating the Happy Meal.
You're just trying to get as much camera time as possible so you can watch it back. She's really into watching herself back on these when she does her evasion. She made me rewind AE Ramble this week like 40 times this morning because she was like, I was on there. Turn it back. I want to see me. I want to see me. The ego on this one. She's like, my dad wanted to call it True Babyface Heat, but I said True Heel Heat, and the rest is history. But yes, we appreciate y'all in the chat. Send those super chat donations. Do not let Harlem down. We always appreciate the love and support. We got already in the chat Eric Isaacs the Great, who says, good morning, Tru Heel Heat fam. Happy Money in the Bank and Heatwave weekend. And the biggest heel in AEW is Mercedes Mone. We also got Vala B, who says, this thumbnail really making me feel like The Rock told Jey Uso that Yeet in the Bank was a great idea. He was like, he was going to call it a Yeet case. And I told him Yeet in the Bank, and the rest is history. We also got Aubrey James, who says Hangman Page is the biggest heel. We got John K. Thanks for joining us once again, good brother. He says MJF is the top heel. I love that. This is a good. I was like, what can we put in the headline this week that's gonna get people to kind of say different things? And I think we chose the right thing, because already from your comments, we even got Derek who's saying AEW top heel. Trick question. We got Aubrey James with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Aubrey. Starting us off strong. He says SmackDown was mid. Hangman Page, the biggest heel. What did you think about last night's SmackDown? It wasn't of the same quality of the last 2 weeks, in my opinion.
Same. It was kind of. I agree. It was pretty mid. Was it terrible? No, but when you go off the way that you did the last 2 weeks, definitely was not terrible, but definitely wasn't what we've seen the last 2 weeks from it. Dumb. I mean, obviously because of they're going with the angle of they took out Paul Heyman. That was a significant difference too. That was just me, but
well, I like, because I filmed some stuff for Jimmy's channel yesterday, and I was talking to him, and I didn't have to do the Sports Keto review last night, so I was like, I didn't even know if I was going to stay up and watch SmackDown last night. But in the long run, I did anyway. I just stayed up and watched it. I wasn't tired, and I wound up watching it, and I predicted what it was going to be. I was like, it's not going to be the same as the last 2 weeks. Like, the last 2 weeks, you had Jacob Fatu's debut, which was great. Then you had an all-time Bloodline segment with one of Paul Heyman's best performances. They did the smart route of video pre-tape promo for the Bloodline this week, but they saved it until like the final 2 minutes. I don't know if it was formatted right, because it did not feel like they hyped it up all night that they were gonna have Solo Sikoa has a message for the WWE universe, but like they only left them like 2 minutes to get that message out.
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's more the layout than anything. But then also, because we are going to Money in the Bank, what the hell were you going to do that was going to, you basically just want all the good stuff happen on Money in the Bank. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, that's also a big factor as well. We got Chuck Berry's in the chat. Thank you for joining us this morning, good sir. He says, good morning, THH. Bam, we are in the middle of a heat wave in more ways than one. Hey, SP3, how's the weather across the pond? It was very rainy yesterday, that's for sure. It was very rainy, and today it's been relatively fine. It's been relatively fine today. We got another super chat donation from our boy Will Chisholm. Thank you so much, Will. As always, our number one. Jimmy says he's the Stone Cold to Chuck Berry's The Rock, because they are the top two contributors to our super chats here. Will says, I wonder, was that story like 5 years ago that Vince wanted to change WrestleMania to Mana? He wanted to change it to Mana, but I said you should stick with WrestleMania, and the rest was history. I'm just gonna get the rock memes all out at the beginning here. We also got Vala B with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Vala B. He says, Harlem Pop, Hangman is the most justified heel. MJF is that guy. We're going to hear from Josh what he thinks is the top heel after we go through what went down with AEW with Forbidden Door last Sunday, as well as this past Wednesday's Dynamite Beach Break. We also got Vala B, who mentions SmackDown had that yeet yeah movement or moment. Yes, the moment that everybody is talking about, he says, you hating on the yeet yeah promo. I mean, it was lame, but I don't think it deserved as much hate as I'm seeing on social media. It was lame and it was corny. I do agree with Vala B, but I don't think it deserves as much hate.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
on social media.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was cringe more than anything, but it wasn't like, I mean, we've seen worse. I mean, are we going to ignore what we saw Tuesday night? That was a lot worse.
We'll get
I'm just saying.
that. And we kind of roasted that if you joined us for our NXT Heatwave preview. Our good friend Corey was trying his best to look on the bright side, but I was just like, no.
It's like no, you got to call it like it is. You got to call it like it is. No matter what, I get it. You know, like the seriousness of it, but at the same time, it's like, again, if it's bad, it's bad. You know what I mean? Like, it's just call it out. If it's bad, it's shit. You know what I mean? I think that there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and they put her in a bad position to begin with because I don't think that her character needed that. It did not need that, and she wasn't ready to perform that. So I'm not even putting this on Lola. I'm putting it on the bookie. But we got one more super chat donation before we get things in high gear. Will Chisholm, thank you once again, good sir. He says, Roman saw that Solo promo and was like, why you say F me for? What you say F me for? he's like, I didn't even do nothing. I let you beat up my wise man. What you gonna say F me for? And it got people buzzing, and a lot of people think we're gonna see the return of Roman Reigns tonight, but we'll get into that when we get into the predictions. We got our Stet King John Martin, who says that NXT segment was terrible. I want to say it like Charles Burke, terrible. It was terrible. It was terrible. And so Ben says, "Yep, Tuesday was bad." Yeah. That's why I was like SmackDown. I can't call mid because I think that NXT episode it went downhill after the opener. The opener was great, and then it just went downhill after that. But we got a lot to discuss on this week's episode. But of course, we start off every flagship podcast shouting out you who support us here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, as well as our Patreon and across social media. Our top 3 conversation starters over on the Tru Heels group page. We have Patrick Eagle, Joe Bellini, and number 1 once again, Stewie John Palmer. Thank you so much for our Tru Heel Trinity. Our Patreon backers, Vala B, Alan Weinstein, Negro Buck Nick Jackson, Alex McCarthy, Professor Chris, Austin, Trey, Robert, Steve, Ladarius, John, Dan, Kobe, Dolores, John Martin, DJ Eric, Marcus Ryan, James, Alan, and Santo. Thank you so much for supporting us over at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month. Get you exclusive content as well as the best place to support us when we are not live here. But who else is live with us here? We would not be complete without the third member of our team, the princess of all the Tru Heels, the tribal queen, Miss Krssi Love is here. How are you doing, Krssi?
I'm okay, and yourself? I think I came up perfect time. You didn't even start any news yet. This is great. I didn't even listen. Wonderful.
We had super chats to read. We had to make fun of The Rock a few times, and Harlem did a run-in early on, so you missed Harlem.
I missed Harlem already? Yeah, she's early.
Yes, she did. It was when I was telling people to send super chats to feed my kids and to put clothes on.
And she just comes in. Up.
Yeah, it was like Beetlejuice. I said it too many times. We got another super chat donation from our good brother Will Chisholm once again. Will, always killing the game. We appreciate you. He says Kevin Owens showed local how to cut a good mom promo. Yo, that Kevin Owens promo was the best part of SmackDown for me. It was emotional. It felt real. It was real. So I appreciated that. That was a nice little go home segment for the 6-man tag tonight. And yes, Follow B saying Harlem got her Happy Meal. She did mention that. She did.
She said she wanted a Happy Meal?
No, she said she got her Happy Meal. Oh, I was about to say, is that her again? No, the wind is opening my door now. All right, but let's get into things. As we had last Sunday, we did the flagship podcast, but then at 8 p.m. Eastern time, the main card started 6:30 for all of us sickos who watched the pre-show for AEW NJPW Forbidden Door. And what a show it was, as you had in the main event, Swerve Strickland defeating Will Ospreay to retain the AEW World Championship in an outstanding main event matchup that was easily a match of the year candidate, as Will could not pull the trigger on using the wrench, but Swerve could when it came to Swerve Stomp after a house call, after big pressure to pick up the victory to retain the top prize in All Elite Wrestling. But speaking of top prizes, the top prize in NJPW did change hands as Tetsuya Naito beat Jon Moxley to win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship in a very controversial matchup when it comes to people's viewpoints following it. Speaking of controversial, the always controversial Mercedes Mone defeated Stephanie Becker to retain the TBS Championship and win the NJPW Strong Women's Championship in a great matchup. But the post-match got a lot of the attention. As post-match, we saw the return of the one and only, the former AEW Women's World Champion herself, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, who came out to basically confront her future rival here. Speaking of the women's division, though, you had the AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm, beat Mina Shirakawa in another great matchup to retain her gold. Post-match, we had one of the best moments of the year, ladies and gentlemen. As Mariah May encouraged the ladies to not only shake hands, but to hug each other. And to all three of them give us a kiss that got even Nigel McGuinness all emotional and crying.
I'm mad I couldn't hear it.
He was clapping and crying. It was a great moment. Great moment. These are what dreams are made of, ladies and gentlemen. Then you had Jack Perry. He defeated Mark Briscoe, Tanosuke Takeshita, El Phantasmo, Dante Martin, and Leo Rush in a wild ladder match to win the TNT Championship. That Blue Thunder Bomb off the apron is one of my favorite spots of the year. It's one of my favorite of the entire year, but Jack Perry walked out with the gold. Speaking of great matches, though, you had Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Orange Cassidy in a brilliant technical wrestling clinic that showed a different side of OC, but it was Zack Sabre Jr. proving himself as the best technical wrestler in the world. Then you had the Elite beat Hiroshi Tanahashi and the Acclaim in a fun comedy match that included Okada being a DJ. That's all I have to say. That was the best pop. Best pop for me. MJF defeated Hechicero in his hometown of Long Island in a pretty good opener to the show. MJF getting the loud pop. Who didn't get a loud pop was Hook and Samoa Joe and Katsuyori Shibata beating Jeff Cobb and the Learning Tree when Hook used Jericho's Judas effect to pick up the victory in that one. Over on the 0 hour, you have Mariah May defeating Saraya to advance in the Owen Hart Cup Women's Tournament. You had Mystico and the Lucha Bros beat Los Ingobernables de Japón in an awesome trios match, which is among one of my favorite pre-show matches I have ever seen in life. And also on the main card, you had Bryan Danielson defeating Shingo Takagi in a tremendous bout to advance to the Owen Hart Cup men's semifinals. You had excellent professional wrestling. You had a big return. You had a match of the year candidate. You two were there live. We'll start with Miss Krssi Love. What was your overall thoughts on AEW NJPW Forbidden Door?
Great show. Very solid. I mean, I don't know if there was any bad parts. I want to say, like, you had to really kind of like pick and choose if you got to run to the bathroom. Like, it was really hard, I want to say.
See, I was trying to help y'all. I was like, y'all should have went to the bathroom when Jericho comes out. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Right.
I was there at Revolution and everybody chose the same matchup. It was when Jericho came out. We all went to the bathroom. That's when y'all need to go to. It was right in the middle of the card. It was the perfect time to go to the bathroom.
You're right. But I'm happy I was there to witness the main event. Wow. I mean, wow. By far, like, match of the year candidate. Such good shit. Like, everything from beginning to end was flawless, I feel like.
Where does it rank the main event as far as the matches you've seen live?
Top ones for sure.
Okay, Eric. Krssi getting love live on air.
Oh, thanks.
No, I'm talking about that Bing. I thought that was you.
My messages is coming in. Sorry, I had to turn it off. Sorry, my bad. Oops. I didn't know y'all could hear that. Damn. Wow.
That was loud.
That was loud as hell. I don't know how we couldn't hear it.
My fault. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
I really thought I could only hear that part. I never knew y'all could hear that. Oh shit. Okay. Anywho.
Josh was also there live. You joined us for the review, but any other thoughts you have now a couple of days removed from Forbidden Door?
They're pretty much the same. Great overall show. Like, I felt good going to the show. Like, I felt like I got my money's worth. So that's always a plus for me. If it would have been bad, like, honestly, like if I would have gone to like World's End, then that's a pay-per-view, I would have been like, I would have been like, oh damn, like I traveled all the way to this dump in Nassau Coliseum just to watch this show. But I didn't feel that way about Forbidden Door. It was definitely worth it, especially for that main event. Like, even though I mean, I knew what I was getting out of that main event, but like I said before, like Will always does something that is like, you know, how can he top this or how can he do this? And then he always finds a way to do it. Like, that's all you can really ask about. And you know, both of these guys, they're really showing like that these two guys can really carry the company, regardless of what other people could, regardless of what others are saying and anything. You know, like Swerve has really gotten to his own, not only as a performer, but his talking has gotten so much better too. Like, you know, and that's the common theme I think between both of those guys. Like, you know, Will was never always known as a talker, but you could tell like in AEW, like he probably knew because coming to the US, you know, they're more in favor of like promos and stuff like that. So you could see he's really worked on that, you know. And again, great. It was a great overall show, despite maybe two or three matches that probably shouldn't have been on the card, but we got it anyway.
Yeah, you did not need to add a squash match on the pre-show, Tony. I just want to let him know that was ridiculous.
I was just like, I could deal without a lot of this stuff right here, though. You know, like it was all right.
When you have a 10-match card, I think it's ridiculous to have a 5-match pre-show.
Yeah,
save that shit for Rampage.
I agree. Yep, I agree.
Yeah, he just added that shit, the Serpentico match. I think he only did that because Serpentico is technically like lives in Long Island, so maybe that's why they wanted to just like throw him a bone.
Yeah,
but it was a glorified squash match. I mean, that's what it was. So I mean, either way, he got his payday, so I'm happy about that.
Okay.
We got this comment in the chat, and I thought the Long Island crowd, it had some ups and downs, but definitely one of the downs was Naito versus Moxley. So you two were there live. We'll start with Miss Krssi Love. What was your viewpoint of Naito and Moxley? Did you like it? And if you didn't like it, what do you think went wrong here?
Well, first, I think they were upset that they didn't get the entrance song. That's number one. Number two,
because they didn't get Wild Thing, really?
I think that's one reason. I think that was more so disappointing. And he didn't engage like he usually does, if that makes sense. He just came straight on out and just went straight to the ring. I think that's one. Two, I don't know, maybe it's where they placed the match. Because we've been there, this was about like hour, 4?
5. Maybe.
5? Yeah, I'm about to say, by then it was probably by hour 5. So we're like, okay, we've seen a lot. And it wasn't giving us like that woo. They didn't give it like a lot of, it was more technical than like the general Moxley matches, I feel like. He didn't bleed.
True.
Because you think by 10 minutes in, he would have bled. I'm like, okay, no, that's not happening. So I just think overall, I think that was probably something that they probably should have had either. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe placement, probably. That's all. There, those are two I can say. Maybe placement and then like his entrance.
Yeah, I didn't factor in the entrance because I didn't think that was a factor, and I like the fact that Moxley comes out to his New Japan theme for the Forbidden Door shows.
Right, exactly. I was saying he probably did that because this is Forbidden Door and that's his New Japan song. So
yeah. And I feel like that fits more the vibe for Moxley when he's in Japan. And I prefer if Wild Thing he only used it when it was like Blackpool Combat Club. Like make that the team's theme song to go through the crowd as Wild Thing, and he keeps Death Rider as his theme. I factored in a couple of different things. It felt like, they weren't on the same page. Like our producer in the back is saying that they didn't gel well. They gelled really well 2 months ago in Chicago at Windy City Riot. I think that it's also the fact that Naito does more of like a slow paced style, and it's also the factor of the placement on the card where you had a big matchup that it felt like New York realized that Mercedes Mone was from Boston like midway through that matchup, and they booed the hell out of her for the rest of the match. They cheered for Stephanie Becker. And then they just popped, blew the roof off for Britt Baker. And then it was also the factor of I felt like a lot of the crowd realized you have 2 more matches left. Let's save some energy for the main event. And they was like, we're going to be quiet for this. And then it's also the factor of these guys did not match well. And I thought that the match was good up until like the final 2 to 3 minutes where they just felt like they were off. Like they tried to go for, I think it was like a Death Rider into a Destino, and they just couldn't do it. And I think Naito froze at one point. Moxley had to knee him in the gut a couple of times, and they tried to do the spot again. They couldn't do it again, and then they just said, all right, fuck it, just go to the finish. And it just fell apart at the end. It was very similar in a way to the Jade Cargill tag team matchup at Clash at the Castle. After that botch, that match fell apart. It was kind of like that with the finishing sequence to this match. So it was a couple of different factors. I don't think Naito's cooked. I think that cooked is what we saw from Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's cooked. I don't think Naito is cooked. He's on the grill. Don't get me wrong. He's seen it. He's seen his prime years are more behind him than in front of him. But he is at the tail end of his career, and that's why he does more of a slower pace. And I also think that Naito only really gets up. Like 5 years ago, he had a great match at Madison Square Garden. 2 months ago, he had a great match in Chicago with Moxley. But I don't think all the time he gets up for these U.S. shows. He has more of the Naito vibes when he's in Japan. He feels more comfortable there. So I think it's just all different types of factors of why this match didn't work. And I would argue, and I wouldn't argue with anybody else who thought this was the most disappointing match or the worst match of the night. Josh, you were also there live. What did you think?
For the match itself, honestly, I thought the match was fine until like you said, until like the last few minutes, like that finish. Because people were asking me too, like after the show, like, what do you think about that match? And I was like, that the match was fine in my opinion, just because Naito has always worked this slower pace kind of style. Usually that's how things are done with him. But then also like would this have been more in favor in front of a Japan crowd? Yeah, because that's just the style that he works. So it's a little bit different when you go into the US and people are expecting like bigger things. So for like a technical aspect, it was a fine match. It was just the last, like you said, the last 2-3 minutes, something fell apart, something was off, and you could obviously see something was off, and then they just went straight to the finish. So people, I guess, I don't know, man. It's just weird because again, when we see something like really bad, we've always seen the trend of like if somebody has a bad match, oh, this person's done. This person is not good anymore. I don't see that with Naito just because I'm like, yeah, we get it. He's getting up there in age. But then we've seen better matches from him like a month or two ago. So I don't think it's an age thing. I think when it comes to an age thing, I think it's more of like if you see somebody that has like a long stretch of matches and they're not good, then that's when you could say like, oh, this person's probably done. Like we've seen with Undertaker. Undertaker was up there in age, and he was not having good matches. Something like that you could say. With Naito, I have not seen that. Like I haven't seen that stretch. I don't think one match solidifies that, in my opinion. I don't think it tells me like, oh, he's done. Even though we all know, like, you know, people when they get up there in age, you know, it's bound to happen. In New Japan, it's a different animal, just because like we've seen guys who work into their late 40s, into their 50s. So I think, me personally, I think Naito in the spot that he's in, maybe has about another two years left when it comes to that, and then he'll probably work like part-time after that, like kind of like what we seen this transition from like Tanahashi, Suzuki, like those kind of guys. I think he has about 2 years left when it comes to him being a top star, because right now in New Japan, he's probably your biggest draw. Like he just is.
Yeah, like it's not probably, he is.
Yeah. Because like if you look at it, like the scale, right? You lost Okada, right? You lost Ospreay. He's the only guy from like that era that's left. That you can still rely on, you know. So them putting the title on him, I understand. Just because the other guys that they have right now, they're not pushing them to that aspect right now. So I get it. You know, even though they should be, like Zack Sabre Jr., he should be in that conversation of being a IWGP World Champion, but that's not how they're using him. So until they start using him that way, that's when you could start like relying on him when it comes to drawing, when it comes to stuff like that. But Naito is basically their biggest name when it comes to that tier of wrestlers they got there. Yeah, there's other better workers, but people also got to understand it's the way they're being pushed, right? Like there's a lot of guys we could like, but if there's somebody who's in a different tier of things, that's who they're gonna push. And right now, Naito's that guy.
It just is what it is. We got a super chat donation from Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck. He says, when Jimmy mentioned her on Thursday, kind of gotten me to thinking, was Mercedes sending subliminal messages on her heel character and appeal as such? I mean, whatever it was, I want to say thank you, New York, because y'all finally got Mercedes and Tony Khan to be like, yeah, she's a heel. She's better as a heel. Thank you, because I've been saying this shit for about the last 3 months since she got here. I thought she should have turned heel from the debut episode. She should have laid out Willow and been heel from the beginning. Y'all tried to make her a babyface versus babyface against Willow, and then realized like about a couple of weeks in that, oh, she has to be more of the heel in this situation. Then y'all tried to make her a babyface again in the Stephanie Vaquer feud, but the fans chose Stephanie Vaquer over Mercedes Mone, and it was like a light bulb like went off in her head, like, oh, I like it. I like being booed. This feels like my vibe here. Krssi, being there live, what did you think about that whole reaction of how the fans in New York turned on Mercedes?
I was laughing. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was hilarious. But I mean, Stephanie out wrestled her though, I feel like. Out of the two.
Stephanie was better than her in that match.
And I think that's when they started booing. It was like, this is not the girl that we've been waiting for. And I think there was more so a booing of disappointment because you waited all this time, and this is what, your second match? Was that her second match?
No, this was like fourth or fifth.
Well, whatever. Anywho, disappointment called it all.
I wouldn't say it's disappointment because we got the loud fuck the Celtics chant because it had something to do with her being from Boston. And it was, I will say that Stephanie Vaquer won the fans over. I'd say it's more, they were impressed with Stephanie more than being disappointed with Mercedes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah. Because I think, I mean, you know, Mercedes did fine. I think she did fine. It was just, you know what it was too? Because like when I was talking about it in the review, I think slowly there was already people who were kind of just not feeling Mercedes because like, again, the section I was in, there was two dudes who were like overly like angry, like when she came out, and it was just kind of weird. Because I'm just like, why are these motherfuckers like so pressed about this? And then the dude in front of me started talking to his boy, And then he starts going on about like, oh, I don't get why she called herself the best. You know, Danielson is the best. Like, I don't understand like why she would say that and all that. And I started laughing, and I think he heard me because like I told Wendy, I was just like, that's kind of ridiculous to be upset about that. And then he stopped talking about it after I said that. Because it's just like, bro, like, are you really this pressed with an interview that she was in character? What was she supposed to say? Oh, I'm mid? No. Right? When wrestlers talk about themselves, they call themselves the best. It's nothing new. And I think that because the perception of like women's wrestling has changed, people are just not used to like a woman calling herself the best. And I'm like who gives a fuck? Like, all these women are great performers. Like, but would people have a problem if Becky Lynch was to come back and Becky Lynch called herself the best? No, she calls herself the damn man. Like, and nobody's upset about that. So it was like, who cares, right?
Well, also, Josh, I hate to be the one to say this, but Becky Lynch has the complexion for the protection.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They might not respond.
The thing is,
I said this on Ramble.
That's my face right now. Seriously.
I think I said it on Ramble that I actually had a friend. I'll shout him out. Sat was like, I felt a little bit of racism from the fans in Long Island, and I was like,
no, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't that.
It's just that Mercedes, like Dion says here, Mercedes is not a likable character. She's not a likable, and to a lot of people outside of wrestling, she's not a likable person. So I don't know why they tried to make her.
And also, I just wanted to also add that the person that was in front of me who was upset, he was black himself. So it had nothing to do with like, you know, just to confirm, like the two people that were actually upset, they were black. So it goes to show you, like, yeah, and
I mean, the section I was in, they had a lot of Mercedes fans, and we had like the whole they was giving out the whole damn signs. But then when Britt
they gave us signs too outside. So like Wendy had one, I had one. And Wendy was wearing my Mercedes shirt, so it was like, I mean, again,
but I will ask Krssi. Yeah. I will ask Krssi as our resident black woman here. I mean, you said, the guys that said it were black guys. I mean, I tend to hear black men are probably the worst to black women than anyone else. What do you think, Krssi? That doesn't help them. That doesn't help them.
Surprise me at all, friend.
It doesn't. It didn't surprise me either. I was like, that adds up.
Yeah, so it's like,
especially like if you go like deeper down to the south. Oh yeah. It's just what it is. What are you gonna do?
Especially a strong, confident black woman like Mercedes.
Yeah. They're like, run away.
Yeah, it was just crazy. It was just like,
for me, no way.
Yeah, it was just bad funny because like I laughed and then he just like stopped talking about it because it was just like, bro, like that's just fucking stupid. Like, that's what you're upset about. And this, I remind you, this was before the crowd turned on her. All this happened before the crowd turned on her. So there was already people in the crowd who kind of already felt some type of way about Mercedes. And I guess like it took like those group of fans to start booing her. To everyone was just like, you know what? Let's start booing her too. That's how it kind of felt like to me. Yeah, that's how it felt like to me. That's how it felt like. Once they started to notice, like, oh wait, there's a big section of people booing her, let's all start booing her. That's how it felt to me.
But everyone, like you guys, were talking about the main event of AEW NJPW Forbidden Door. Swerve Strickland picking up the win over Will Ospreay, as previously mentioned, and it saw Ospreay putting over the champion in the headliner. But as reported by Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select, a special report that came out this week, Ospreay, who has a history with Strickland as friends, was determined to prove that Strickland's championship reign was not merely a temporary position until he could claim the title at All In August. Ospreay proposed to AEW management the idea of putting over Strickland at Forbidden Door to emphasize the importance of supporting the world champion for the overall benefit of the company. This decision was seen as a way to to basically show that success in AEW required a team effort and that individual egos should not get in the way of the company's goals. Ospreay's willingness to support his fellow wrestlers and his commitment to the promotion's success have been praised by those within the company. This, like I said, reported by Sean Rossap of Fightful Select. And I thought it was great when I heard it. I was like, well, that's awesome. And that makes a whole lot of sense because I said when the match was originally made, I was like, if you're not going to do it at All In and you're not planning to put the title on Ospreay, it's better to do the match before All In. And that's what I guess Will made that sense as well. And me and Josh got to speak to like Sad, who is Will's friend, and we kind of got that perspective as well that helped me in kind of understanding where they were going with this. But it made a whole lot of sense, and it really shows that Will has an understanding of the business, and he's listening to the fans out there, because there was a lot of fans even before Swerve won the title at Dynasty. They were like, "Oh, Will Ospreay has to win the championship at Wembley Stadium this year. He just got here, but we don't care. Wembley Stadium, that has to be the main event. That has to happen." So I thought that it was a great move. It led to a match of the year candidate. Krssi Love learning that Will Ospreay had a hand in basically suggesting this to AEW management. Does it change your perspective of the matchup, or are you like me that think that it just benefited everybody involved?
I think everybody won that night. I really think the company won. The two guys won. They put on a stellar of a match. Whoever says otherwise is stupid. It just makes me love Will Ospreay even more. And like to say, you know what? No, it's not the right time. Like showing like, no, this is what we have right now. Like, let it still hot. Like, let it still cook. Like, I don't need it right now. And that's okay. Like, I've been here only for a couple of months now. I still got more stuff to do. And we want him to do that. Like, we can get it later on. And I'm sure he probably wants to win it at home. Maybe it'll be more meaningful there in front of more people.
Yeah, you could do that next year. I said originally, if they were going to do Swerve and Ospreay at Wembley Stadium, that I wanted Swerve to win anyway. I still wanted Swerve to win at Wembley Stadium. But I understand that from their perspective, Swerve is very popular. He's a top babyface as well. You don't want to get him the heat that he would get if he beat Will at Wembley Stadium. So that's why I said they made all the sense in the world. And it gave us a overall great program. Like the reaction that you guys gave it at the very beginning with like big cheers for both guys, holy shit chants and stuff like that. That showed AEW the benefits of a very strong, very great build up to a matchup, because everyone in that crowd, everyone at home watching was invested from the opening moments on because the build up was so strong going in. Correct. Josh, what did you think about the report of Will going to AEW management wanting to put over Swerve?
To me, it's not surprising. We've kind of got this idea from Will now that Will, like you said, he has a great mind for the business, because that's more self-awareness than anything. He's not about his ego. He's not about wanting to be basically shoehorn or spoon-fed the championship. Like, he wants it to take time so then when it does happen, it means something, right? So I think for somebody that young, because he's compared to like other, how long he's been in the business, he's still pretty, young compared to like somebody who's been there forever. So for him to have that kind of mindset now, I mean, it kind of just shows you the maturity he's had, because that was always one of the biggest nitpicks when it comes to Will, was like his maturity. So you're starting to see that now, where when it comes to, again, putting somebody over, he's doing the right thing, right? But then also what was weird was like some of the people that were like bitching about it. I was just like, why is this a bad thing? Because they thought like, oh, that you're, like basically you're trying to make Swerve look like, less of anything. But I'm like, no, it just, all it really does is solidifies and it confirms, all right, he's going to be our guy for a while. I don't see a problem with that. Just because, yeah, like I don't, like, again, I don't see a problem with that. And I'm like, and I think that's okay. And that's good that, because the moment that Will came in, right, when he was signed, that was the whole aspect of, oh, he's gonna go to Wembley and win the title. It's cool and everything. I'm like, but he kind of just don't need that yet, like, right? Because by the time he goes to Wembley, he had his first match in February. Why should he win the title in August? You know, and this is one of the things that people did complain about with AEW, like, oh, they got these new guys and they pushed them like this. You know, what about the other guys who haven't won the championship? But then when Will was like, no, let's wait, all of a sudden it's a problem. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? It's just stupid.
I saw weird people in like, oh, why should we even know this? Stay off the internet then. You don't have to know it. Like, that's on you. Like, it's so mind-boggling to be like this. Oh, why would they even leak this? Why would we know this? Hey, it makes Will look even better coming out of it. I didn't think Will lost anything. He looked great. And this stretch that Will's had of Takeshita at Revolution, Bryan at Dynasty, even the Roderick matchup at Double or Nothing, and then this match, this is an all-time run on pay-per-view.
It's going better and better. Yep.
Not only that, but then also, like, I also look at it like the way where it happened last year, right? Remember when Cody lost to Roman, and then that's when all the news came out, like, oh, Cody was already penciled in to lose, right? And then Roman they were penciling in Roman as a champion to go into the next Mania. It's almost the same thing, right? We knew Roman was gonna stay champion. I never had a problem with that because I'm like, yeah, they're gonna push the 1,000 days agenda. And that's what they did. And I was on board for that. So I'm like, they do this shit all the time in wrestling. People, you know, but I think it should also matter more that I'm like, this came from Will. Will was open about it. Like, why is that a problem? But yet other news outlets could leak something, not leak, they could report something because they were told this. But then, yeah, when a wrestler says it, all of a sudden, like, oh, it's a problem. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's just weird behavior, but that's wrestling fans for you. We're all victim of that sometimes.
Yeah.
But other Forbidden Door notes: we had a free agent backstage at Forbidden Door. PW Insider and Fightful Select report that Donovan Dijak was backstage at the pay-per-view, while PW Insider also notes that former WWE's The Bump co-host Matt Camp was also backstage as well. Fightful Select had an update on new wrestling free agents, Donovan Dijak, as well as Ricochet. According to the report, AEW did not have any discussions on using Dijak or Ricochet at Forbidden Door. Dijak was in attendance at the event and reportedly backstage during the show. It's noted that AEW invited Dijak to visit. There were no talks of using Ricochet since his WWE deal didn't expire on that date, but instead expired on July 1st. It's rumored that Ricochet will soon be signing with All Elite Wrestling, but we'll get more into that a little bit later. In an interview with Forbes, Donovan Dijak also said that he is interested in going to All Elite Wrestling after his WWE release and noted that Tony Khan is aware of his intentions. On being backstage at Forbidden Door, he said, I got to see Mark Briscoe for the first time in, 7 years at Forbidden Door. So that was super exciting. He's always wonderful to be around. And I saw his kids were at the show. And the last time I saw them, they were literally babies. His wife had babies, and now they're all walking around. I guess they're older than my son. So yeah, it was fun to see him and catch up on if he was invited to the show and his interest in AEW. He said, nobody invited him. I showed up uninvited. Laughs. He says, no, Mojo Rawley and Steve K both arranged that for me. They have great connections. Steve was there with me, so he brought me along and brought me in. I don't know if anything needs to be approved by Tony specifically, or if they just kind of have people going in and out. But I know that Tony has been aware of my interests, and I know that there's reciprocal respect, if nothing else. So we know now that, Dijak is interested in going to AEW. Krssi Love, do you think that AEW should snap up Dijak? And what would you say, 0 to 100 is your percentage that we could see Dijak in AEW?
See, here's my thing. I don't want Dijak to turn into Big Bill. However, with that being said, Big Bill has been with like some top people, but he still doesn't get anything out of it per se, just some TV time, and he gets to talk. But I mean, if he goes over there, another big guy. I mean, he could be like a good Claudio. Like, I mean, I figured he would go to New Japan first, but I guess he can go to, AEW. I just don't want him to get lost in the sauce.
To be fair and to be honest about New Japan, I don't know if they got the money for guys like that.
Oh, right.
I would love to see Dijak in New Japan.
Part of the whole thing. Yeah, they ain't got no money. Damn.
Like New Japan, I would love to see him there because I think that he would be more valuable to New Japan than to AEW. But at the end of the day, I want to see these guys get paid, and I don't know if New Japan is going to put up the money to do that.
You're right.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you?
I got it. He can pay you.
What did you think about Dijak being backstage at Forbidden Door, Josh?
I really thought he was gonna come out, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's actually backstage." So I really thought he was gonna come out. That would have been cool. That would have been pretty cool. But then it was like, what spot would he be good at to come out? You know what I mean? So I mean, I get it. I get both aspects. But I do think if he goes to AEW, I do think it would be the best move for him because one, it's a different situation because I know Krssi brought up Big Bill. I think it's a little bit different just because Dijak is a great ring worker, right. Okay. And AEW they put emphasis on good workers, right? Claudio, yeah, he's not getting the big title push, but he gets constant TV time because he puts on great matches. And I think that would be a good spot for him. That's what he was doing with NXT, right? NXT, he wasn't getting like push. He was getting like maybe certain things, but he was on the cards because like he was getting put on like on their PLEs because of his great performances, his great matches. That's all you really need from Dijak at the moment. I think if you just put him doing matches, AEW is a good spot for him. New Japan would have been a good spot, but I think New Japan, I think he'll be in a situation where again, it'll be kind of similar to like Ricochet, that these guys would just get dates. They're not getting these big contracts. It would just be certain dates, so they'll only get like tours and then get off the road and then put back in. So I think in that aspect, I think that's why it will be cool to see when it comes to that, but I just don't see Dijak going to Japan full time just because of his family. He does have a young son, so I don't see him staying away from his family because I know he's very big on that. So I think AEW is the best move for him money wise. Again, he'll get TV time. Because if he goes to TNA, like I said last week, I think if you were talking about 2-3 years ago, yeah, TNA would have been a good move. But because they have this partnership going on with NXT, he would kind of just be on the same thing. Like, all right, you were in NXT and then you're going to TNA that they're working with NXT, and NXT is trying to use their talent, as in like Joe Henry, certain things, Jordan Grace. And the NXT just getting scraps. I mean, TNA just getting scraps from NXT. I mean, so it's like it wouldn't be a good move. I don't think that would be it just wouldn't really be like that great of a move.
But New Japan had some big news on the Forbidden Door card as NJPW and Stardom are teaming up with AEW, ROH, and CMLL for Wrestle Dynasty in Japan to start 2025. It was announced at Forbidden Door that Wrestle Dynasty will take place on January 5th at the Tokyo Dome, the day after Wrestle Kingdom in Japan. So big news, or I saw somebody on social media call it Forbidden Door, the winter edition.
That is it. That is so true.
Great job, by Doug. In a post on Twitter Sunday night, Leo Rush announced that he was in pain following the TNT title ladder match at Forbidden Door. Later, the independent promotion Beyond Wrestling announced that Rush was injured in the matchup and would be pulled from the July 4th event that they had, Americana. The nature of his injury was not revealed, but Rush wrote, "I'm not suffering, but man, am I in some pain. What a night. What a match. I'll be back for more. Thanks to everyone for riding with me on this journey through hashtag Forbidden Door." Rush then posted to Twitter again to let his fans know that he will be okay. He said, I'm good, guys. A couple of ice baths and I'll be straight. I appreciate the concern. And then finally, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that the early pay-per-view numbers for Forbidden Door are down from Double or Nothing and closer to what they did for AEW Dynasty in April. The TV numbers are down 17% from Double or Nothing. The early estimate is around 110,000 to 116,000 pay-per-view buys. Streaming buys look to be similar to Dynasty as well. It will depend on late pay-per-view buys at this point, as Double or Nothing's numbers were improved by strong late buys. And Tony Khan has revealed that AEW NJPW Forbidden Door had a $1 million live gate for the third straight year. Khan spoke in the post-show media scrum and revealed that the show had an attendance of over 11,000 paid fans with a gate of over 1 million. The last two Forbidden Door events in Toronto and Chicago had passed the $1 million gate mark, so New York came through. They lived up to the potential of Forbidden Door. Overall, a big success for AEW with Forbidden Door. And like I said, I said before, AEW, you know, the vibes, it's like an EGG shirt, you know, someone who's hard. It's like Anthony Davis in the playoffs. Some good games are good, some games are bad, some weeks are bad for AEW, some weeks are good. You know, they had the 502,000 rating for Dynamite 2 weeks ago. And I said, all they need is the pay-per-view and they'll be on the up. And people, you know, were higher on AEW going into Dynamite. And somehow Dynamite raised it even more, because you had AEW Dynamite Beach Break on Wednesday from Chicago, Illinois. The rating did its best rating in about a month, 688,000 viewers, 0.23 in the 18 to 49 demo. And what a show it was, as you had in the main event after weeks of hype. It was Will Ospreay defending his international championship against Daniel Garcia and picking up the victory in a great main event matchup to retain the international championship after Garcia refused to use MJF's Dynamite Diamond Ring. He got blasted with the hidden blade for Ospreay to retain. Ospreay consoled Garcia after the matchup, and then Maxwell Jacob Freeman. He came in and consoled, even hugged Garcia before he kicked him right in the nuts and busted him open with a Dynamite Diamond Ring in an amazing heel turn and ending to Dynamite. I am sorry, this is one of the best moments of the year for AEW, as he held the dead body of Daniel Garcia. He said, "Did I restore the feeling? Is this your boy?" Oh my God, this was awesome. And you heard the marquee Chicago fans at first was like trying to chant, "He's our scumbag." But the longer the beatdown went, the more blood that he got on the white tank top, it just led to the fans giving him some incredible heat to end the show. And then MJF tombstone Daniel Garcia off the second rope to Christopher Daniels, like, "Why would you do that? Why would you do that?" And then MJF goes into the crowd and almost fights a black guy that gets in his face. This was an awesome angle heel turn for MJF. MJF has been restored, ladies and gentlemen. But that wasn't the only thing. Yes, that is not the only thing that Beach Break had to offer, as you had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, cut an emotional promo revealing that she had a mini stroke to explain her absence from AEW programming, but this led to the best version of Mercedes Mone, double champion, TBS champion, NJPW strong women's champion Mercedes Mone, interrupting as the Young Bucks had her celebration, doubles championship celebration brought to the ring while Britt was talking about having a stroke. They just disrespected her like that. And this solidified Mercedes Mone as a heel with her celebration and back and forth with Baker. That was a great woman segment. I think it's one of the best AEW talking woman segments that they've ever had, as Britt challenged Mercedes to a match at All In. Mercedes responded by turning her down and telling her to get to the back of the line, which Britt responded with, "Bitch, what line?" Which is a line that Mercedes once said. That was great stuff. Great stuff from these two as we're getting the hype and the start of the build to All In between those two. Meanwhile, we're also on the build to Blood and Guts as Mark Briscoe, the Ring of Honor World Champion, revealed himself as the first member of Team AEW against the Elite in the double ring of the 2-ring steel cage matchup, which led to Jack Perry attacking him with the TNT Championship. Kyle O'Reilly came down for the save, but Kazuchika Okada laid him out with the Rainmaker before the Young Bucks came down to give Briscoe the EVP trigger and stand tall with all the champions in the Elite in the ring together until the Acclaim and Daddy Ass made the real save. You had a TV match of the year candidate, in my opinion, as Bryan Danielson beat Pac in an excellent opener to advance to the Owen Hart Cup men's finals. This was a great back and forth contest between two of the best wrestlers in AEW. Willow Nightingale defeated Chris Statlander in a big, beefy women slapping meat matchup as to advance to the Owen Hart Cup women's finals in a surprise finish. I thought that Chris was definitely going to win this one, but Willow picked up the victory to advance to her second straight finals of the Owen Hart Cup. And then finally, you had Hangman Adam Page with a brand new entrance, a brand new look, and he is unhinged. Every time this man heard whose house, Swerve's house, he literally went to the fans. He's like, "Who said it? Who said it?" And he defeated the emotional hook of the Owen Hart Cup, the former best friend and tag team partner of Owen Hart himself, Jeff Jarrett, to advance to the Owen Hart Cup men's semifinals tonight against Jay White on Collision. And then post-match, Hangman told off the EVPs, the Young Bucks, for treating him like a young boy and said that he's focused on winning the Owen. Krssi Love, what did you think about Beach Break this week? Me and Jimmy called it one of the best Dynamite episodes of the year. In Jimmy's eyes, he said it was the very best episode of Dynamite this year.
One of the best, I want to say. I don't know if it was the best, but one of the best for sure. And it's just, and did they do well in ratings? I hope they did, because I mean,
They did their best rating in a month. So
okay, fine. I guess after the pay-per-view, it made more people tune in. But yes, welcome back to Hangman. I love the crazy, shit brain. I guess just give him some alcohol and he's even more unhinged, and it's much better. Make him come out with a cup. But good stuff. I love that you called the girls big beefy slapping. Big beefy.
Oh, they were busting out German suplexes. Yo, when Chris Statlander busted out an F5, I was like, yo, they're going in. They're going ham.
But these are like they're giving like quality like pay-per-view matches on like a regular on a Wednesday night, And I thought Chris should have won, but I guess they gave it to Willow. But whatever. Good show overall. The Mercedes and Britt thing, they said forget that you had a stroke. Let's. I was like, these people are rude. This lady just poured her whole heart out about like almost be like being on death's corner. You guys gonna go and do this? Okay, whatever. But great stuff overall. Solid episode. I think it was one of the best of the year.
Josh, you watched it live here on the channel on Elite Heat 99. What did you think overall of Beach Break?
It was a great overall episode. I was looking at the card was great. So I was looking forward to that, but a lot of stuff they added was great. The segments were top notch. The interaction between Britt and Mercedes, like this is something that I think a lot of us have been not only waiting for, but like, you know, when Mercedes was leaving WWE, this is one of the things that got brought up, right? A feud between Britt and Mercedes and what that would do. And the fact that they delivered in their first segment together, like it goes to show you that there's great things to come, in my opinion. If they find a way to keep it this hot, you know, going into All In, everything's gonna be great. I think if you do like the Ospreay and Swerve route, that every single time that they were on screen, it was like it meant something. They got to find a way to just do that, right? You can't have, I don't want to say you can't have cold periods, but I think AEW is in the sense that, you know, people have been complaining so long, oh, there's no stories, there's no this, there's no that. And we've been getting that. Like if you look at this episode, look at the storylines we have, right? You have the MJF turn, right? Because and then there's stuff between him and Will going on, right? They've been teasing it. There's stuff between him and Will going on. You have that. And then you have the Mercedes and Britt going on, right? Then you have the lead up for Elite going to Blood and Guts. I mean, there's a lot of things that they're doing that is like, just because people are not, I'm like, you not watching, that's on you. If you're not paying attention, that's on you. So you can't tell me they ain't doing those storylines. There's nothing there. That's all bullshit, I think. They've been doing it for a while. I think they've been hearing the criticisms greatly. And, you know, if they continue it, I mean, hey, you know, it's for the better, right? In my opinion. And then even though the women's division, right? This was like their weakest point. And now AEW's women's division has gotten to a point that everyone's like, yo, this actually might be the best women's division that we have going on right now. Like, in any company. People are still falling on to NXT stuff. I think NXT, they're kind of stumbling with their shit. Not too bad, but it's not, you're not, I don't think, like in my opinion, I see it like this, right? Usually when they compare stuff, I'm like, what's going on that's better than like what Tony's doing? And then she had her build up, right? What's better than, what would be better than Britt and Mercedes right now? Like what we just saw, like what's going on any of the women's divisions when it comes to any company, like what are they doing that's better than that? That's how I see it. And that's why to me it's kind of a hard argument to make. Like you can't really discredit what AEW is doing. You can't really discredit it because they improved this, and then they've improved this for the last year. It's going like on a year that they've improved the women's division, and you're starting to see it. I mean, again, like there's a lot of stuff it's great. I just think that it's always the internet perception, right? If one thing happens, people fall on that. And I think that's what it is with AEW for the most part. I think people fall on that a little too much. If somebody speaks negatively, people fall on that. You know, that's why you have like this fucker, Eric Bischoff, who criticized Tony Storm in one of the worst takes I've seen in a while. I'm like, bro.
He said he didn't watch the matchup.
That's why I got away from that. Yeah. And it's like, why are you talking about something you didn't watch? And yet you're giving direct criticisms to something you didn't watch, because that match, her match at Forbidden Door was also a solid match. Like it was a great match. Yeah, like it was a great fucking match. I'm like, what is he fucking complaining about now? You know what I mean? And now it's got to a point it's just like, bro, you're just doing this for the fucking grift. I don't need to listen to you. Then you have that other fucker cheese man making up dumb shit for his tick because he's still upset that Tony Khan didn't give him a job because Tony Khan knows that he sucks ass. So it's like, it's all this stuff. But I mean, you know, like AEW is doing great stuff. And I just think that, hey, if you're not into like the AEW, fine, stick with WWE. If you want more of like the soap opera stuff, stick with WWE. That's fine. Right. And I've always said that myself. I like the two different approaches of pro wrestling. AEW has a different approach. WWE has a different approach. That's fine to me. Like, I don't need everything to be the fucking same, because if everything is the same, then what the hell's the point?
Yep.
Yeah. Like, and there's a lot of people that, you know, just wanted WWE to be good. The WWE was bad, and that's why they started watching AEW. And now that AEW is not like WWE, they're mad at that. So yeah, I agree with Power Driver Finisher, who says they're going to keep moving the goalposts. But we got to answer the question that's in the headline. We had a bunch of people giving us their thoughts early on in the show. Krssi Love wasn't here for that, but I'm going to give you the first shot at answering the question. Who do you think? Because you had this week from Mercedes getting booed at Forbidden Door and then embracing that to become her real self, her heelish self as the CEO against Britt Baker, who was just a natural babyface in that promo segment. Great back and forth promo between the two. And now it seems that Mercedes is firmly a heel in AEW. Then you also had Hangman Adam Page returning after turning the double turn with Swerve Strickland earlier this year. And now he's this crazy, unhinged heel who is very upset whenever he hears Swerve chanting. And then he ruined it for all the people who were convinced that Jeff Jarrett was going to go far in the Owen Hart Cup because of his friendship. And it's awesome. He did an awesome promo on social media ahead of the Owen Hart Cup. But Hangman Page is firmly a heel once again in AEW. And then finally, you had MJF becoming his real self, becoming the heel that we always knew he was. And then finally giving Daniel Garcia what he said last week. He said, I've been a part of some of the biggest matches and moments in AEW history. Now you have been a part of one of the biggest moments in AEW history. MJF has been restored because I said it on, I think Jimmy came up with the analogy of, Steph Curry at point guard, he's a 99. But if you try to change him up and make him like a power forward or a 2 guard or a small forward in 2K, his overall is going to go down. At a power forward, he's like an 85. At a small forward, he's like an 88. At a shooting guard, he's like a 90. He's not the 99. And that was MJF as a babyface. He's not the 99 that he could be. Now we've got MJF at his right position being a heel again. So, Krssi, who is now the top heel in All Elite Wrestling? Is it MJF? Is it Hangman Adam Page? Or is it Mercedes Mone?
Oh, wow. Ooh, that's hard because they're so different and they're all three are different heels. I'll say MJF is the top one, though. I think he gets the most shit from everybody. The other two are good heels, but I feel like MJF he just puts it on another whole totem pole and just makes it like another where you like, no, this dude is really a fucking asshole.
Yeah. I want to say I would rank it as MJF, then Mercedes, then Hangman.
Yeah.
But like
either way. But the other two, I said Hangman can go either way, but the other two are better as heels, and they need to stay heels if that makes sense.
Yeah, but they need. I think the AEW really needed to address this because it was an issue. Like going into Forbidden Door with, you have two top baby faces in the main event. You have Mercedes kind of playing this babyface tweener role, and you have MJF playing, a babyface that got played out at the end of 2023. So he needed to come back because you knew he would get cheered as a babyface, but he's now been restored. I agree with you. I think MJF is number one because he could be number one overall as a heel in AEW, but I don't think he can fit that number one role if he's a babyface. He's just in the right spot as a heel. He could be number one in this company. And I said it on Thursday on AE Ramble. I'll say it here. Now I feel like the men's division, the main event scene in the men's division, feels like it's been restored because now we have 4 top guys. We have 2 baby faces and 2 heels in MJF and Hangman on the heel side and Swerve and Will Ospreay on the babyface side. And I hope AEW goes with, those 2 matchups as the mainline men's matchups at All In. We've heard Wrestling Observer Newsletter this week reported that Bryan Danielson is currently the favorite to win the Owen Hart Cup. And I love Bryan. Bryan Danielson is my favorite wrestler in the world. That would be a big mistake if you don't have Hangman win this Owen Cup to face Swerve at All In. I think you got to strike while the iron is hot. Bryan, you could tell your story on the way to Washington at Wrestle Dream. I don't think All In is the time to do Bryan going for the world championship. I think you got to strike while the iron's hot with Hangman coming back as this new unhinged heel character, and he should win the finals next week. Josh, what about you? How do you rank those three? Who do you think is the top heel in AEW?
Right now it's MJF, Mercedes, and Hangman. And the reason why is because you guys made some good points. But also the two guys, the two guys, that's the two guys. MJF, Mercedes, they have the most experience when it comes to being heel, right? They have the most experience, right? Hangman, he was a heel at one point before when he was with the Bullet Club. He was a heel, but however, he wasn't a top guy. Like he was just like one of the members of Bullet Club. So it wasn't like he wasn't there yet. And I think once he started becoming likable and ROH, that's where they kind of started going like this little baby face kind of thing with him. And he stuck with that. Even going into an AEW, he's always been face going to an AEW until this year, when he did the turn. So it's not so much of like, oh yeah, like he's not a great heel. It's just the fact that he hasn't done it as much. And the time that he did it, he wasn't where he's at now. Like he wasn't in the spot that he's in now. But it's a good thing for him because he kind of just needed it. I think he needed a change when it comes to things like that. And it's been fun to watch because like now he's just crazy. He's batshit crazy, and I like it because he beat the shit out of Jeff Jarrett on Wednesday. Yeah, you know how many times he could have pinned that man and he just chose to, and he just beat the shit out of him. Like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just stuff like that. I mean, again, MJF has all the tools. MJF has always been a better heel, regardless. Great talker. He has all the tools that I think that still makes him the top heel. And this is what people wanted. The babyface stuff, it was okay, but I think when he leans too much to the crowd, that's where you kind of started. It was like, oh, he's doing like what The Rock does. Where it comes to because he was even doing it in a match, like he was even doing it during the match where he was like playing into the crowd and shit like that, which is all fine and all, but it's like sometimes it's like, bro, like you don't always need to do this when you're a face. So him turning heel, I mean, it's all right in the world for AEW right now because that's what you needed. And then also the moment that they did it, I mean, Daniel Garcia is very fucking likable. Everyone loves Daniel Garcia. So he did it against the right person. And then they used like a fucking 10-minute, 15-minute overrun for it to build. He just kept beating shit out of him. Even like when they were like,
and they needed the beat down to be that long because the longer it went, the more heat they got. Because like I said, the Chicago fans initially were trying to be like, he's our scumbag and all that stuff. But the longer the beat down went, the more they started to boot.
Yep.
Great stuff with that heel turn. We do have a super chat donation from our good brother Chuck Berries once again. Thank you, Chuck Berries. He says Hangman is a crazy heel, Mercedes is a snobbish heel, but MJF is the true heel. He is my scumbag. I just feel so great. Like this is the MJF that we've all grown to love, to hate. We love to hate this MJF. He is deplorable, and I love the fact that it was a very kind of like mirroring of his initial heel turn in AEW when he turned on Cody, where Cody was his mentor, and he turned on him at Full Gear, just kicking him in the balls. Every heel turn he does, every turn on person he does, he just kicks him in the balls. That's how he does it. He did it to Punk, and then he did it here, where this is why I said it's a mirroring of the Cody one, because Cody was his mentor, and he was the mentee, where Daniel Garcia was kind of his mentee and he was the mentor, and he just turns on him like that. Perfect stuff. Perfect ending. We also got Belle with a super chat donation. Good to see you in the chat, Belle. Always appreciate you showing your support. She says, as an apology for being too quiet right now, because I'm also watching the Euros. Not that I have much faith. Hey, I understand our sports affiliates. You know, if the Lakers were on, I would have it on the second screen here. So I totally understand, Belle. But I appreciate you having us on one of your screens. That's always the love we love to hear. And then we also got Chuck Berries once again. Chuck Berries calling you out again. Chuck Berries, Jimmy said it on Thursday. Chuck Berries is the Rock to your Stone Cold. He's been showing us more love here. Just saying, Chuck Berries, thank you, sir. He says
notes, so I can see if the numbers are showing. They're not lying. Just letting you know, friend. Okay, thanks.
Chuck Berry says MJF gets the most crowd engagement as a heel, and it's so believable. He definitely does. He knows how to get people to boo him. He is like he needs to be now a career heel. Like, you did the babyface run, and it was good. It was successful for a little bit. Last summer was like the hot point. Once Adam Cole jumped off that stage, I think he should have just went back to being a heel. Because without Adam Cole there, he wasn't able to retain his popularity as a babyface, and it started to dwindle, and he started to veer into not Jewish Rock, but more Jewish John Cena, and then he attempted to be Jewish Stone Cold at Full Gear last year, so it was not good. So I appreciate that we got MJF back where he's at, and I appreciate that most of us agree MJF is now the top heel back in AEW. But we got more people and more news to discuss from AEW here, because Ricochet has been a big point of conversation around AEW. Fightful Select reports that Ricochet is now officially a free agent after his contract expired at midnight on July 1st for WWE. He was moved to the alumni section on July 1st, a few hours before that happened. He was not contractually able to appear at Forbidden Door, but could conceivably show up on Dynamite or even tonight's Collision at any point if a deal was made. Sources in both AEW and WWE expect that Ricochet will be All Elite soon. However, he is not currently planned to face Will Ospreay at All In. In spite of rumors, as for Samantha Irvin, she is staying in WWE despite Ricochet possibly going to AEW, but the possibly might be a certainly if you're according to Fightful Select's latest report, as Fightful had more of an update on the free agent Ricochet and possibly signing with AEW. They said in their report, according to the update, it appears that Ricochet's rumored move to AEW appeared to be moving forward. According to the update, it's believed that Ricochet will be joining AEW soon. Ricochet's agent was reportedly backstage at AEW's TV tapings on Wednesday, and it said that the agent's visit was leading to subsequent talks between both sides. Ricochet's agent also represents a number of talents in both AEW and WWE, so when do you guys think we will see the debut of Ricochet in AEW? I know most of us have been on the side of that is probably where he's going, but Krssi, what would you say do you think we'll see Ricochet in AEW?
Maybe after Wembley?
I'm going to say on the 250th episode, which is on July 17th. Because
damn, you stole my answer. I was going to say that. I was waiting for that. I was like, low key, I'm like, I'm going to say the 17th.
Now, you know, I didn't know none of those I didn't know that answer. And you just put me together. Great. Thanks,
I was waiting for that. I was like, damn.
Whatever.
How do you think they debut him then, Josh?
I think so on the 17th, right? Because I know we're going to talk about this. I know the 17th it is they're marking it as a big deal because they're marking it as big because it's a 250th episode. But then also our good friend Andrew Zarian also said that they're putting on a main event like pay-per-view main event like match on TV that night, right? So speculation, at least to me, I think they're gonna do MJF versus Ospreay at the 17th. I could be completely wrong. Don't quote me on that because he didn't say either. He just said that's what they told him. He didn't say no matchup, so don't quote me on anything. And I think that maybe after the match, that's how you bring out Ricochet.
After he
I think
after
I think the other way around. I think MJF, because like at the report that Fightful said, it's not currently planned that it's going to be Ricochet and Ospreay at Wembley. I think they do it the other way around. They do MJF versus Ospreay at Wembley, and it's just like an open challenge on the 250 episode. Ospreay will defend the international championship, and Ricochet debuts as his opponent. They do Ricochet and Ospreay on the 17th.
Yeah, it could be that too. I just think it's all gonna come down to what Will wants. I think that's just what it's gonna come down to, right? I think he's had. I don't want to say he has like the pull to it, but I think if Will wants the Ricochet match at Wembley, he's gonna get it because again, Will fucking idolizes Ricochet. I think there's no, and I think that Ricochet is going to AEW because of Will, because of what the comments. All this started happening, if you notice, all this started happening when Will was just like, man, I feel so bad for when I see Ricochet because this dude could be doing so much more. And, you know, like, what's he doing?
So bad.
After that, that's when the Will started going in motion.
The one that put the battery in his back. Will was the Triple H to Ricochet's Rossi.
Yeah. I would say, yeah. Like if you notice because remember the speculation before anything was said, everyone was like, "Oh, Ricochet's gonna resign because you know he's complacent. He's gonna get the money. Oh, his fiance is there, right?" And then all of a sudden, Will spoke up, and then that's when all of a sudden, like, Ricochet gave his notice to WWE that he's not resigning. So I'm just saying, if this is what Will is going to come down to, what Will wants, and if he wants Ricochet at Wembley, that's what's going to end up happening. Either or, honestly, either or. Like if you MJF will be a great match at Wembley. Will versus Ricochet at Wembley would be a great match. So I don't think it hurts either way. It doesn't hurt the situation either way. As long as we see that match, that's all I give a fuck about. It could be TV, it could be pay-per-view. I don't give a fuck.
But MJF had some comments this week, which I think that they should have had this as a, babyface promo, but he explained it in an interview with Busted Open why he is not currently going after the AEW World title. Of course, he just came back from a hiatus after losing the title at World's End in December, and he returned at Double or Nothing. I'm not going after the AEW World title. He said, I know how to pick my spots. Right now is not the time. I know when the time is. Right now, it's not. Swerve is on a goddamn roll. I don't like him. Actually, I'd go as far to say as I hate him. We don't agree on anything. We look at professional wrestling in entirely different ways. I'd go ahead to say that I have more disdain for Ospreay than I do for him. But what I will say is this. I feel bad for Will Ospreay tonight. This was before Forbidden Door. He says, I've never seen a guy more locked in than Shane Strickland is right now. Sorry, Swerve. Than Swerve is right now. The guy is absolutely locked in. He's next level right now. Do I want to deal with him at the moment when he's 100% and I'm still healing from a shoulder injury? Do you think that's bright? No. I am a man that picks my spots. Everybody else in this company is dumb. Everyone in this company works hard. Working hard is for suckers. It's stupid. I work smart. I pick my spots. That title will be around my waist again because I'm the best professional wrestler in the world. The reason I'm the best professional wrestler in the world is because I'm the smartest professional wrestler in the world. Right now is not the time or the place. Hey, as long as we got the answer, I appreciate that. That makes a whole lot of sense to me. So I'll give MJF that. But he's not the only one of the heels that we just discussed that had some comments this week to explain why they weren't doing something or were going to do something, because Mercedes Mone had some comments in the latest All Elite Crew newsletter where she spoke about getting booed by the crowd at Forbidden Door for her match with Stephanie Becker. Mercedes explained, my fellow board members of yours truly, CEO Mercedes Mone, I would like to know whoever was a part of the crowd that switched sides on me in the middle of the match. Oh, do you think I missed that? Come on, have a little fun. Let's fess up now. I mean, I understand having the hometown hate. I'd be bitter too. If I had to watch the face of TBS, the New Japan Strong champion, and the one of the living proofs that Boston is, in fact, the city of champions, make absolute history, where your teams just can't compete or compare. But hey, have a little class. Just kidding. Celtic Nation, for life, baby. If your socks ain't red, get out of here. I won't lie, when the chant started, it had me giggling. Silly sillies. Don't you know it's me who puts the boss in Boston? I love New York, though, but I'll let y'all paint me in the villain era. That's one thing I love about wrestling. The fans are quick to turn on you, and yet somehow that energy always ends up hyping me up more. So please carry on. I do enjoy it. If there's one thing you can always expect at a wrestling show, it is that the crowd is unpredictable and you may not know what's going to happen. But one thing is for sure. It will be something surely to remember. In fact, New York City, I should be thanking you. Changing sides, cheering on Stephanie over me mid-match. That was like a light bulb moment for me. And now I have some for more exciting stuff up my sleeve. CEO is not a character. It's a whole entire corporation, baby. And we are expanding as we speak. Stay tuned. I mean, you should just watch Tru Heel Heat, where I've been telling you to be heel for months. Like, if you're gonna listen to New Yorkers, listen to me. I've been telling you this from the start. You should have just been a heel from the beginning. Just listen to me, Mercedes, if you want to listen to New York. But speaking of Mercedes, he also made some big headlines off of a certain meeting that she had this week, as Shane McMahon and Mercedes Mone reportedly ran into each other in New York City on Monday. PW Insider has confirmed with multiple sources that Monet and McMahon were seen in the morning at LaGuardia Airport in New York City as they headed to separate flights. The two reportedly were seen speaking to each other, and one source confirmed that they had a talk of some kind about All Elite Wrestling. There's no word on the nature of that talk, though Conrad Thompson had said late last month that he had been told that McMahon had interest in appearing in AEW. It's been reported that McMahon has not been mentioned in AEW at a high level, and Tony Khan said that he has never met him, but that he has a lot of respect for him, and he's always welcome in AEW. Then Mercedes Mone confirmed the report that she spoke with Shane McMahon, and after running into him in New York City, she said, and I quote, "After it all, by only the fates aligned, I walked into the airport, was in a line by a bagel shop, when I suddenly looked up, and there he was. Just as surprised as I was. My first day being a double title holder, and the first wrestler and former WWE star I see is McMahon. Come on. If that isn't the universe working in divine timing, I don't know what else it could be." She added, "I've always loved Shane. When we locked eyes, we both kind of looked at each other like, is that you?" Our face lit up as we got to talking a bit, and before he boarded his flight, he gave me his number. The rest, as they say, is history, or maybe a mystery. I'm sorry, I had to say that in dramatic fashion because that's how it sounded to me. Yo, I would love for Shane to be Mercedes manager. Book it. Give me Shane McMahon as Mercedes Mone's manager. Come on, yes, Hey, if y'all think Mercedes can't talk, let Shane O'Mac talk for her. Double the money. Here comes the money. Here comes the Mercedes Mone name money. Money.
Okay.
I
can believe it.
I'm here for it. Double the money. There we go. See, we're all here. Come on. We're all jump on the bandwagon. It's okay. You could jump on the bandwagon, Josh. Come on.
No, I mean, I never mind it. It's just with Shane, the thought of Shane going to AEW, I mean, that's fucking wild because it's like a fucking McMahon in AEW. It's an insane thought. right? It's nuts. But I will say, keeping away from being a wrestler, I do not need to see a Shane McMahon match.
That
I
part.
don't see. I don't need to see those doo-doo water punches that he throws. I don't need to see that. No, as long as you can use Shane as like some kind of like character to get some heat or whatever the case may be, I do think he could contribute. Like, I think that's a big deal. I think it's a bigger deal than a lot of people want to admit. Just his presence alone, what he could offer. He has the experience. So that would be an insane thing for a big man in AEW. And I do think it's very possible just because Shane, it's very possible because Shane has always had like this love and hate relationship with WWE. You know, he always wants to try new things. So this would kind of make sense when it comes to that. And I just don't know where he's at with WWE. Like, I don't know the kind of terms he's with WWE. Like, is he on good terms? Is he still loyal? I don't know, because of, you know, everything that happened. Yeah, like everything that happened, not only with his dad, obviously we know that, but just him himself, because, you know, his exit wasn't the prettiest, and then the WrestleMania thing happened. You know, he tore his fucking quad on live TV, and then he hasn't been back since. He hasn't been back on WWE programming since. So
is that 39?
Yeah. So it'll be crazy. Anything could happen. You never know.
We shall see. But like we said, AEW Dynamite Beach Break was in Chicago, and it had a certain familiar face. PW Insider reports that Mustafa Ali was backstage Wednesday night at AEW Dynamite. He was reportedly just visiting. Dynamite, of course, took place in Chicago, in Ali's hometown. I know that's got a lot of people excited, so I just wanted to mention it. Not much to say here yet, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. Okay. AEW Rampage last night featured the semifinals of the Owen Hart Cup, as you had Mariah May beating three-time AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida to advance to the women's finals next Wednesday against Willow Nightingale. You also had Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher of the Don Callis family defeating Private Party in a very good matchup, as well as Roosh picked up the victory over Commander and impressed Don Callis so much that Don Callis offered him a spot in the family. In AEW, final bit of news here, you had Adam Cole, baby. He has been out of action since Grand Slam last year when he broke his foot in multiple places. He last appeared at AEW Double or Nothing, taking a bump from MJF and gave him the brainbuster. In spite of this, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Cole is expected to still be out a little bit longer. Due to the complexity of the injury, he is not ready to return even though that he is still able to now walk. The hope is that he will not be out much longer, though, since he's out of the walking boot, able to walk on his own power. He's not supposed to be out much longer, but still a little while longer. So we shall see.
Damn.
I mean, now that MJF is heel, should we ask the question, what is Adam Cole going to do now that he comes back? Because it seemed like a foregone conclusion he would feud with MJF and finish that story, but it seems like Double or Nothing was the end now that MJF is back as a heel. What do you think is going to be the future for Adam Cole when he does make his return? Krssi, Josh?
I mean, first of all, this injury has aged him a lot. He looks stressed out. Two, I don't know. What do we put him at now? Because now we have other guys that's there that has been working. It's like, where do we put this other top star at now?
I think that he has to figure out a way to revive the Undisputed Kingdom. I think the one thing he can do is probably be the glue that brings Kyle O'Reilly into the group, which could help the group a lot, because I think Kyle O'Reilly is always more interesting as a heel. But I'm like, I don't know if Cole is going to be in like the world title picture anytime soon, even after.
No time soon. Maybe next year. Maybe the year after that. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Undisputed Kingdom is dead in the water right now. That is for sure. It's
drowning.
But they were on Ring of Honor TV this week. Ring of Honor TV on Honor Club was a special 4th of July episode. The show featured ROH Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta made his return to go to a 10-minute time limit draw in his Proving Ground matchup against Lee Moriarty. So Lee Moriarty earned him a shot at the Pure Championship. Meanwhile, the Undisputed Kingdom beat Commander and MOTYC in a fun Proving Ground matchup of their own. They set up 2 huge matches for Death Before Dishonor as Queen Aminata and Red Velvet revealed that they have both earned their shots at the ROH Women's World and World Television Championships, respectively. It will be Queen Aminata versus Athena, even though Athena says she's not cleared, and it will be Red Velvet challenging Billy Starks for the Women's TV Championship. And we got our first vignette for MX Collection. Mason, Madden, and Mansoor are coming to Ring of Honor. Very excited to see those 2 guys start off in Ring of Honor. And you also had the unified AEW Trios champions, well, 3/4 of them, Juice Robinson and the Guns, picking up a victory in Trios action against Dark Order in a solid opener to the show. So some good stuff on Ring of Honor this week, some good stuff all around for AEW and the Converse. But we got to make our way out of the Converse, guys, and make our way over to WWE land, to the Triple H era. As you had last night, WWE SmackDown, which was in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, ahead of Money in the Bank. And it had a great main event as DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, picked up the victory over 8-Town Down Under to finally win the WWE Tag Team Championship in the same building. They won the NXT Tag Team Championships 8 years earlier against the Revival at TakeOver Toronto. You also had a revolving door promo for the Money in the Bank, men's Money in the Bank matchup, as all 6 men cut promos ahead of tonight's matchup, leading to a brawl where LA Knight and Jey Uso stood tall after having a yeet versus yeah off. You also had Bayley. She picked up a victory over Piper Niven in a Clash at the Castle rematch, where all 6 women in the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match brawled throughout the ringside area. Solo Sikoa explained his actions against Paul Heyman last week, the wise man, and explained why he is now the tribal chief, saying that Roman Reigns wasn't suited to be the tribal chief anymore after losing the undisputed WWE title to Cody Rhodes, and that he would beat Cody Rhodes and take back the championship, and that if Roman wants to be tribal chief, now he has to take it from him. And then finally, you had Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens cut promos ahead of their trios matchup against the Bloodline, with KO in particular cutting an impassioned promo about his mother being sick and not wanting to let her down when he fights against the Bloodline like never before tonight at Money in the Bank. So, sending our best to Mama Steen. I hope she is feeling she's going to do better and makes it through. But Kevin Owens put his heart on the line. That was a great promo by Owens. I like the solo promo as well. Krssi Love, what do you think overall thoughts on SmackDown last night?
SmackDown was a great show. We had 4 matches. More of the promos and everything that happened outside of the matches were more impactful, I feel like, for the episode. But overall, Solo calling Roman out. I mean, if that's not a call out, I don't know what is. Like, if you want it, you got to come get it. Yeah, like that's what he, bitch. Like that's all he missed. Like the profanity of it all. Like, I like that. And I was like, well, when are they kept saying that we're gonna hear from the bottom. I'm like, well, when are we gonna do? We got 2 minutes.
I was like, we're running out of time here.
Yes. And shout out to DIY and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller giving a great style of it looked like a pay-per-view match. It should have been on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But they won it on SmackDown. So great. But overall, I guess they want these 5 match pay-per-views. So okay, sure. But they was like, you know what, we're gonna go and we're gonna tear the roof down. Sure, let's do it. And that's exactly what they did. And I'm happy that they finally won, because between Raw and SmackDown tag, we was just like, come on, guys.
Like give us one good tag team champion. So now we got two. We
Now
got
we got two.
Judgment Day on one, and we got DIY on the other. So
which I'm actually happy about. I'm not mad at either team, to be honest. I think they got good decisions. They picked two good teams so far, and I guess yes, let's see what DIY can do. And they did a great match. Good for them. Happy. But good episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, I didn't think it was on the same level as the last couple of weeks, but it was still good especially with the main event and the promo work.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. We got Cyclops is better than Wolverine, who says, I'm willing to bet my soul and firstborn child on a J win. I'm that confident. Well, I don't know if you should be putting up your firstborn child.
Right.
Well, you can say goodbye to your firstborn child then.
Right. Jay is definitely not winning. I'm sorry, Fred. That I guess all three of us can agree on that part. But yeah,
I'm glad we can agree on something. Any other thoughts on SmackDown last night, Josh?
Carry on. Oh, sorry.
No, like I said, it was very wasn't the quality of what it was the last two episodes of SmackDown. Just because they're going into Money in the Bank, so in that aspect, I do get it. Like KO's promo was great. And then the Solo vignette was great. It was just more funny because like Solo talking all that shit. I'm like, bro, you how many times you lost to Cody already yourself, and you talk about you're gonna beat Cody? Good luck with that too, Chief. But that's why I do see it happen. I do see Roman coming back at SummerSlam. Very similar to how he came back at SummerSlam when he started his Tribal Chief run. He came back, it was a SummerSlam.
That's true, yeah.
So I mean, again, and that it makes sense for that to be at SummerSlam. It's gonna be interesting what's gonna happen with like what's going on between Orton and Cody, because they're slowly kind of building that up, because Orton is just looking at his belt, he keeps looking at that title, so obviously something's going on with that. But overall, I mean, it was I don't want to call it mid SmackDown. It wasn't the same. It was like what Krssi said. It was more of like they pushed it between like the segments and vignettes more than anything. I mean, it did its job building Money in the Bank in that aspect. Nothing too crazy, but still something to look forward to tonight.
This comment popped me, so thank you, Jerry Williams. He says Solo's reasoning makes absolutely no sense at all, bro. Like 0-41, ain't it? He ain't that
That's
bad.
What made it funny to me. That's what made it funny to me. That's what made it funny, because I'm like, bro, okay, like he talking all that shit. I'm like, bro, it's like fucking Goldar calling out Lord Zed. It's just funny to me.
I love that. And call me Mr. Bonda, who says Aminata and Red Velvet to win both women's championships at Death Before Dishonor, please. I know Krssi would love that. Krssi just loves the sound of Aminata as champion. And Cyclops is better. Cyclops is better than Wolverine. Also saying 5 to 6 matches for a pay-per-view is perfect for me. I don't think so, bro.
It depends on the matches. That's the problem.
Yeah, like TakeOver was perfect at 5 to 6 matches.
Correct.
But main roster television, like people have to understand, TakeOver was the build. It was the payoff for a 1-hour television show, 1 hour each week television show. The main roster pay-per-views are a payoff for 5 hours of television every week. We get more matches on an episode of Raw than we do at the PLE. That doesn't make any sense. That's the
downside. That's the downside of it. When it comes to PLEs, like when people are trying to defend it, of like comparing it to NXT to like what they're getting now, it's a lot different. Like NXT, we were getting 1 hour of TV. We're getting 5 hours of weekly WWE TV. Even if you include NXT, that's 7 hours that we're getting of WWE TV a week. I mean, you're gonna put 5 matches. I mean, I'm like, hey, that's what they want to do, they could do it.
And
I mean,
you
it flies by.
Yeah.
That's the best part. Like, it flies by, but at the same time, I'm like, if you're trying to make your big events to make it like this prominent, definitely needs to put like at least two more matches, like 2 or 3 more matches. I mean, it has to mean something for a big payoff. I think 5 matches you could do for like those like lesser papers, like Fastlane. Like, who gives a fuck about Fastlane? And then what's the other one that's like filler? Like any of the filler ones, I'm fine with. But like your filler ones, I'm okay with. But anything like WrestleMania, keep the formula you have with WrestleMania to that. SummerSlam should be a longer card. Especially you're going 2 nights and the next 2 years or some shit, right? You focus on that, build that up too. More matches on that. Certain ones I'm okay with, but there's other ones I'm like, this is not the formula I think you go long term with, though.
Yeah. And no, Cyclops is better than Wolverine saying, I said perfect for me. That's my preference. I'm not arguing against your preference. I'm just saying it does not make sense overall for an episode of Raw to have more matches than your PLEs. That's just a general thing to me. That's just generalization. There is a middle ground. I'm not saying that AEW has the right formula, because they do not. 15 matches is way too much. But can we get one of these main companies to find us in the middle? Give us a 7 to 8 match card. That's all I'm asking.
I would say about 9 matches is good, because even like in the independents,
I mean 10 should be the limit. 10.
No, I would say about 9. 9 is good.
And that would include the pre-show.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. If you do 10, including a pre-show, I think we're great. I think you're doing good. Other than that,
2 to 3 matches on the pre-show, and then give me 7 to 8 on the main card. I think that is what the main card of every show should do. 7 to 8. 7 to 8, because that's how I grew up, and that's always been the best shows for me. That's just my preference. But we do have another super chat donation from the one and only Chuck Berries once again. Thank you, Chuck Berries, calling out Will Chisholm, man, putting him on the spot. I appreciate it. Chuck Berry says, next week we will be talking about Michin being the LVP after she loses to Nia Jax after just losing to Jada Parker on NXT. No, we are not going to do that to Michin, because she deserves some love. We'll get into that when we get into NXT here, but we do have some news before we get into NXT and Monday Night Raw, as Cody was on, had a big interview this week with the Pivot podcast, where he discussed working with The Rock in WWE, along with the build-up to WrestleMania 40. Cody, on The Rock being a pro wrestler, he says, I grew up a huge fan of The Rock. I have a lot of respect for The Rock, maybe more than anybody in any locker room. When I made eye contact with The Rock for the very first piece of business we ever did, I got an instant understanding of who he is. He's not a movie star. He's not a potential presidential nominee, which would be great at this point. He's not a businessman with all these partnerships. When I looked at him in the eyes, I saw exactly what he is. He's a pro wrestler. He's a pro wrestler who understands the nature. I like this crowd. I'm going to get them really excited, then really upset, then as excited as they've ever been. Then I'm going to get them to tell their friends to come back. On his respect for The Rock, at that moment, I had the utmost respect for him, because in my heart, that's how I feel. I could do a bazillion other things, but I'm a wrestler. To see that from the biggest movie star on the planet, it's a lot of respect. On the idea that he'd be okay with stepping aside for The Rock ahead of WrestleMania 40, he says where we would bump heads is in the idea that you could just come back in the midst of a story that was taking place, and just because you're The Rock, you could step into the starting lineup and take WrestleMania for yourself. A lot of people said he's The Rock. He can do whatever he wants. I saw a podcast with 2 wrestling heads talking, and they said, I'm sure Cody is fine stepping aside for WrestleMania and doing it later in the year. In my mind, I'm thinking that's insane. That's the Super Bowl of what we do. The last day of WrestleMania, the last match, it's our literal Super Bowl. The idea that somebody thought I would be cool with it, they don't know me. Nonsense. I worked my whole life for this. Rock should have known I wouldn't be cool with it. Maybe that's an understanding. That's an understanding him and I have. He found out I'm not cool with it. That's a good thing. You know who wasn't cool with The Rock? Steve Austin. They made magic together. They rubbed together so much it created diamonds. I do have a lot of respect for him. And of course, that leads us to a conversation about the WrestleMania 40 documentary, because that came out this week and it was all about basically
like right after WrestleMania though. Like they had us all waiting and it was supposed to come out right after WrestleMania and they tricked us.
Well, they had to make some edits to make The Rock look better, because The Rock was the one who made the decision for them to go with Cody, you see, because that's how The Rock explained it. You see, he had to make these moves, and, he created the greatest heel character of all time in the final boss, and he wasn't happy with a certain section of fans being upset that, he was going to take Cody's spot. It started the We Want Cody movement, and The Rock was the one that made the decision. And, Paul Levesque was like, you have a GPS, you have a North Star, and you have to make it there, and you just go along with the twists and the turns and the pivots. And what we did was we pivoted. I just said, Rock, you could suck my dick. Cody's winning the Royal Rumble, and you gotta live with it, because I'm gonna make the fans choose Cody over you, you son of a bitch. This is what you get for eclipsing my career and overshadowing me for most of the Attitude Era. I'm gonna make you suck my dick as the head of creative. Josh, what did you think about Cody's comments here? And what did you think overall thoughts on the WrestleMania 40 documentary?
When it comes to Cody's comments, I mean, obviously he's not gonna, he's not gonna completely bury Dwayne, and I get it. That's just who Cody is. But he was very honest about I wasn't cool with that. He's taking my spot. I wasn't cool with that. So at least he spoke about that. I think that means more than anything. At the end of the day, we could say what we want about The Rock. Cody has the most experience with The Rock compared to any of us. He's been around him multiple times. He has that experience. So whatever he says. That's just what it comes down to. As far as the fucking documentary, Jesus fucking Christ, waited 3 months just for nothing that special, and then all they did was just
anything new.
There was nothing new. There was nothing new, and then all they did was fucking glorify The Rock. The Rock came up with this idea. Get the fuck out of here. He did not come up with that. Come on, who are we fooling right now with this bullshit, right? And that's how I felt about it. I'm just like, come on, really? And for me personally, everybody knows that I've been critical on The Rock, and this is way before all this shit happened. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows I've always been critical of The Rock. The reason why I'm critical of The Rock is because I see through the bullshit with him, right? And I've been saying this for a long time. I'm like, yo, this man has a fucking ego problem. He has an image problem. And I think people just need to be honest about it. And I think The Rock needs to be honest about it too, right? Because it's to me, if you have a massive ego, I'll respect you more if you just about it than just have to then try to be just fake about it. It's like Conor McGregor, right? Conor McGregor has a fucking massive ego. But he's about it. He flaunts it all the fucking time. And I think that The Rock has gotten to the point that he's just a walking PR. He's a walking PR statement, and it gets frustrating because it's just bro, I see the bullshit. And of course people are gonna give him a pass because they're fans of The Rock, and I get it. But to me, it's just you could be a fan of somebody and still call out the bullshit. That's how I see it, right? I'm a fan of CM Punk, but I call his bullshit all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think with The Rock, this is all that fucking documentary did. It tried to glorify him. And I think majority of the fans saw through the bullshit. And I'm glad people are starting to see that, because I've been saying it for a while. And this was nothing different. To try to paint him out to be some kind of savior of WrestleMania, I think it's all bullshit to me.
I mean, I don't know about anybody else. I think Josh feels differently, but I mean, I believe The Rock. I think he saved WrestleMania. He saved professional wrestling. I mean, thank you, Rock. Thank you, Dwayne. We appreciate you for your sacrifice.
Well, what kind of bullshit is that? What kind of bullshit is that?
Thank you, Rock. Thank you, Rocky. Thank you, Rocky.
I really know. The part that I didn't get to finish the episode, but the part I believe is like he didn't like the comments that were with his name, and he doesn't like being humiliated. And he's like, "Well, the idea was been for us to do this, but the fans say otherwise." So I do believe him when he does say, "Well, I seen all the comments, and we're in this era of like social media."
Yeah, bothered him.
Was being
spurred. No, but I also agree with The Rock when he said that when Triple H and The Rock both said it, it was like it was The Rock's decision to make, because if The Rock wanted to stay in the Vince McMahon way of thinking of, hey, we don't care what a couple of online fans says, we're gonna keep going in this direction, we're gonna do Rock and Roman, then they would have done Rock and Roman. But because The Rock is open and it was opened up by Triple H, because Triple H, let's call a spade, and I will give Triple H credit when he deserves it. He outmaneuvered and outpoliticked The Rock, because he literally, it was confirmed in the documentary that he told Cody on the day of the Royal Rumble, before the men's Royal Rumble match, that yes, Rock versus Roman is a possibility, and still booked Cody to win the Royal Rumble. He knew what he was doing.
So if anyone we should call liars, Paul, not The Rock.
I mean, they both are.
They're both. Yeah, exactly. Fuck them both.
I call it like it is all fucking day, but it's just I think that's what was frustrating about this documentary, because we've seen this new shift from WWE. Yeah, everybody's loving what they're doing. At the same time, this just proves that they're still practicing their old fucking business practices. Like, hey, let's make up some lies, and let's fool our fans, and let's try to paint this picture of like what really happened, and that's where it was just kind of like, come on, guys, like let's cut the bullshit, and I mean, that's where I was at with everything, right? Again, the heel turn of The Rock was great, right? I think that was a great move. I think that's something that they needed to do, because I think that if they would have gone through the whole thing, if they would have gone through the whole Rock and Roman thing, it just would have left a bad stain with WWE. Like, hey, you got all this momentum, and now you're just forcing this shit that a lot of people don't want. And again, on that aspect, they did the right thing when it comes to pivoting. All the stuff that makes sense, right? There's a reason why they did it. However, I will say, because and I think this was a fucked up part that they kind of just passed, was that the way they fucking treated Seth Rollins. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, for lack of a better word, I think Roman was a bit of a
same thing. Like fucking Roman. Like, what's crazy though? If you look at the fucking graphic of it, Triple H is in the fucking middle, and the Roman is on the far wing of the fucking picture. Like, are you serious?
Because even when Cody wins the championship, you would think that it would be Cody front and center. Cody, it's all about Cody. It's all about celebrating Cody. Nope. Cody says, "Hey, let's bring out Bruce Pritchard and Triple H." It was really about Triple H. It was this whole thing, all WrestleMania weekend from Paul Heyman's speech on, was about pushing the fact that Triple H is the new face of the company, not Cody Rhodes. Triple H is the new face of the company.
Yeah, and then also I think there was people who pointed it out. I didn't really catch it, but there was people who pointed out that where Triple H tried to make it seem like Cody went into business for himself, and there was a clip that people showed, and I was like, I could see why they came off that way. I don't think that was the case in my opinion, but I could see why there was people who kind of felt like, hey, this is Triple H trying to throw Cody under the bus when it comes to what happened, what ended up happening, right? It was just, I don't know, bro. All I'm saying was that this shit was a waste of time. For 3 months waiting, this was a waste of time.
Yeah, it didn't satisfy.
True feelings.
Josh telling it how it is. He's saying it with his chest. I appreciate him.
Yeah, I'd rather you do that than to give us some BS. You know what I'm saying? Like, do that. Yes. But yeah, it was taking 3 months. I'm sorry. You already had the edits. You had to do new interviews. No, I don't think. I think everything was still from that probably the weeks leading up to it. And we I gave us.
And then all they did was just show the same clips that they were going to show the first place. Like all they did.
They teased us with this stuff. Months ago, and this was supposed to drop right after WrestleMania. Like they teased us with it. They didn't say, "Oh, they're going to come out in July." You told us like a few weeks after WrestleMania.
No, they told us the WrestleMania weekend that it was coming out on the Wednesday after.
Correct. And everybody was waiting on that Wednesday, and I ain't give a shit. Because I was one of those suckers waiting.
And then said, "Oh, it's coming out in July." Thanks, guys. Thanks. Appreciate you.
Yep.
We have more Dijak news as he recently recalled his initial reaction to finding out that he was going to be booked on WWE main event following his main roster call-up. He was on the May 30th episode of main event following his NXT call-up. It was going to be his first appearance on the main roster. He spoke with Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp to talk about how he found out about being used on the show. He says, one of the biggest daggers to me was when I got a text from a writer who was assigned to me. He and I had a good conversation the first or second week of Raw where I pitched all this stuff. I was hearing through the grapevine, creative wants to use you. Hunter has this plan. He wants you on TV every week. I said, good. I can recover as long as I'm wrestling in a ring. I know I can make this work. It was a Saturday. I got a text from my writer. Hey, we have you on main event. The second I saw that, I'm like, fuck. I know what that means. That's not an opportunity. That's a death sentence. Shit.
Oh, damn. Main event is a death sentence.
Yeah, WWE main event. Absolutely. I'm working with Paragon Talent Agency, Mojo Raleigh, and Steve K. I don't know where I would be without them, where my headspace would be without them, but it'd be in a bad spot right now. I'm thankful to have them on board. They're super brilliant. They're staying positive. Online, the discourse is they're just waiting for him to re-sign. They want to lock him in. Mojo and Steve are reassuring. They do this all the time. They're trying to get a better deal, so they're taking you down to the wire. I'm in the back of my head. I'm like, maybe. I'm not saying they're wrong. They're wonderful and looking out for my best interests. And I've been me for the past 7 years, and I know how this company talks to people and treats people at my level. I'm familiar with how that works. It does not feel like that, guys. And then finally, we have some news about someone who did re-sign with WWE. It was reported last month that Angel Garza WWE contract was set to expire. However, it seems that it no longer is the case. In a Facebook stream, Garza revealed that he signed a new 3-year contract with the company. He said, "No, I have not left. In fact, I just re-signed for another 3 years. It was an offer I straight up could not reject." So there is that. So I like Garza. I think he's very talented. I think him and Alberto Carrillo are a good tag team. But you're telling me that they re-signed Garza and couldn't re-sign Dijak?
That part. Because I was saying the same shit as you was reading it. Bullshit. A bullshit. Like that little kid in the meme. Yep.
I mean, choices. I mean, that's a choice. So. Okay. All right. Cool. WWE. All right. I ain't gonna no.
It's weird. It's weird as fuck, and then they barely get used. So it was like, what the fuck is the point?
That part.
They fucking barely get used, and then the fact that Dijak wanted to go back. Like, I'm still not gonna get over this shit, right? Where it comes to like, he wanted to go back to WWE. They didn't want to re-sign him. But yet, Ricochet didn't want to go back, and he wanted to re-sign Ricochet. Like, it's weird.
That math ain't mathing.
Definitely.
It's weird. It's like, I don't know what especially when Dijak could have been in a position where all you need is a guy just going out there like a Sheamus. Go out there, just put out bangers. That's all you need from him. So for them to just not able to use him and make excuses. I don't know. I feel bad for the guy, but I think better things are going to come for him. This is all it really did. The WWE run was raise his stock, so he'll be fine. No matter what, he'll be fine. It's just disheartening that somebody who really wants to be with the company get treated like shit.
Yeah, it does suck. WWE Raw this week, they did 1.8 million viewers, their biggest viewership since the Raw after WrestleMania, and they had another good show featuring Drew McIntyre defeating Sheamus and Ilya Dragunov in our final Money in the Bank qualifying matchup in a terrific triple threat main event to qualify for the men's Money in the Bank. You had Zoe Stark beat Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile to qualify for the... well, we got an invasion. I'm sorry. Sorry, we got to cut this off. She's back. She's back. Want to talk?
Oh, hi.
Say hi to Josh and Krssi.
Hi, Josh and Krssi.
Hi.
I ate my Happy Meal.
You ate your Happy Meal? How was the Happy Meal?
Yes.
And yet, chippies and nuggets.
And chippies and nuggets? And how was the chippies and nuggets?
And you're ready to there. Oh,
It's baby Seth. It's your godfather.
Look at this guy.
hi. That's how I'm saying hello.
Hello.
I looked up and I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, what was he here?
You want to go back to mommy?
Are you gonna stay with us for a while?
You showing me a tattoo? You got a little tattoo here? You draw on yourself? Okay. You gonna say bye? You don't say bye to everybody?
Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
And tell them to like, share, and subscribe.
Subscribe.
Okay, you can go back to mommy. Love you. Give me a kissy. All right. Okay, you can go back to mommy.
Bye.
They said bye.
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 All right. I'll see you a little bit. Almost done. Okay.
You don't.
No, I'm almost done.
That means
Okay.
you need to hurry up, SP. That's what she's trying to tell you.
Bye. That was great. You were great. All right. Back to Raw, guys. I know you all appreciated the interlude. But yes, Drew picking up the win over Sheamus and Ilya Dragunov in a terrific triple threat main event to qualify for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Meanwhile, you had Zoe Stark beat Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile to qualify for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. They got a lot of people upset. Jay Uso kicked off the show in a promo segment with Chad Gable to hype up the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. However, they were interrupted by the Wyatt Six, came out to haunt Gable some more and deliver another VHS to Michael Cole. That VHS played and it aired another promo, another great interview from Uncle Howdy and Bo Dallas, explaining that the Wyatt Six is targeting those who have turned on their families and all the members who were lost and forgotten before becoming a family of their own. And we saw Howdy and Bo merge as one. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins got into a promo exchange with Finn Balor and Damian Priest, leading to a brawl with the Judgment Day members where Priest stood tall after laying out Seth with a South of Heaven chokeslam. After Priest and Balor got into a back and forth backstage where Finn accused Damian of changing since winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker had a promo exchange that led to Breaker spearing Sami twice to stand tall ahead of their matchup for the Intercontinental Championship at Money in the Bank. Liv Morgan was a star once again, defeating Zelina Vega to retain the WWE Women's World Championship thanks to inadvertent help from Dominic Mysterio. Meanwhile, Rey Mysterio beat Dirty Dom in another good bout after Liv Morgan inadvertently cost Dom the matchup. And got straddled by him as well. Any thoughts on Raw from this week, Miss Krssi Love?
No, Raw, just, being Raw, 3 hours, fun beginning, ending, and stuff in the middle is just the middle. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I didn't think this was the best go home show. And this is the Triple H MO. He knows how to do all the in between weeks, but I don't think he's really perfected the go home shows that well.
Correct.
Yet.
Correct.
Josh, what about you? Any quick thoughts on Raw this week?
I mean, it was, like you said, it was okay. It was a great main event. It just sucked. I hate the fucking commercial that came about it. I think that kind of took it out for me, but it was a great triple threat.
Yeah,
and then the whole Bo Dallas stuff. It's been his talking. Oh my god, you could see he's really embracing wanting to pay tribute to his brother, and he's really starting to look just like Bray. If you really watch it, and he's sitting down, his beard and everything. He looks like Bray, exactly like Bray. And I was like,
starting to sound like Bray too.
Yeah, and it's he's doing everything possible to pay tribute to him. And I think so far it's been a fine job. I think you can't complain too much about it. I think this is all, they're building it up. And they also had a mission statement of why they attacked Chad Gable. And I think it makes sense. Again, it did its job, good stuff when it comes to that. They did say about this dude was it's going to be an insane opening to Raw. It was okay. It was just all right, they're just playing more of this stuff. It wasn't nothing too crazy. But I mean, overall, it was just wasn't terrible. It just was all right, cool,
Yeah.
And interesting though. Somebody was talking about let's see some real basketball players. Not one Boston Celtic was there, by the way. Just wanted to get that in there.
No, they didn't follow the NBA theme we've seen on WWE television over the last couple of weeks in Boston. They couldn't make it. They were too busy celebrating their championships. Sorry.
Probably.
But PW Insider had a report about possible return of WCW as another pay-per-view name has been copywritten by WWE. On July 2nd, WWE filed to trademark the term Super Brawl, which is the name of the former WCW pay-per-view. It remains to be seen. WWE plans to use the name. In the past, they've used WCW event names like Great American Bash and Halloween Havoc for NXT events. WWE also recently filed the trademark on New Blood Rises, so might be a bloodline pay-per-view at that. And a lot of people have been saying that TKO is known for kind of bringing back old things that they feel they can get more money out of. So Krssi Love, I'll ask you, do you think that TKO might possibly think about maybe putting a WCW offshoot of WWE on Netflix when they make that move?
They should.
No, they should.
I don't think. No. Did you watch Who Killed WCW?
I'm okay, fine. I thought you meant old shows and matches, so people could rewatch it.
Oh no, that's on the WWE Network. I'm talking about them bringing back WCW.
Oh, then no, they shouldn't do that. No. Okay. We already have NXT. Why do we need it? We don't need it.
Scared me for a minute.
I misunderstood the question. I'm so sorry. Because I thought once we have Netflix, I thought we were kind of channeling out the whole Peacock stuff. But okay, whatever.
I think they're going to move off of Peacock when their deal is done, which I think is in 2026.
Oh,
is the deal done with Peacock? So yeah, we shall see.
Okay,
but another big star that's been in contract talks and headlines as of late has been Natalya, who was not present at Monday night's episode of Raw per a new report. Fightful Select reports that the WWE veteran wasn't at Monday's show, and there was no plans for her. The news comes out as her contract is reportedly set to expire sometime this summer. The two sides have been in talks on a contract extension, and sources in WWE have indicated they're hopeful of retaining her. That says there is no word on the status of their talks or which way it may end up going. WWE has been very quiet internally about the discussions. Several people in AEW have pushed the notion of Natalya joining the company should she become available. And additionally, Fightful reports that she's not expected to be doing any media rounds, even in Canada, her home country, this week for Money in the Bank either. Josh, I will put it to you, 0 to 100. Where are you at now as far as Natalya leaving WWE?
I'm gonna give it a good 80%.
Wow.
Percent that she's gonna stay with the company, or she's
No, she's leaving.
No, leaving. That
Oh,
she's leaving. He said 80%. Wow, I did not expect that high. I would put it at, I think I'm at like a 50-50 now. I think I'm at, before I was like much less. I was like below 30, but I'm at like a 50-50 now because they're pushing it very close right now.
Same thing. And then also just like the certain terms you hear, certain things like, oh, she's not doing this, she's not doing that. To me, that kind of just tells me, yeah, she's probably on her way out. And it's probably the best thing. I think it'll be the best thing for her, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
That's fair. Fightful reports that former U.S. champion MVP is still under contract with the promotion as of now. As noted recently, MVP has been very vocal about his thoughts about WWE not using him and Triple H turning down the opportunity to reunite the Hurt business. He even commented on a post from a wrestling fan that says that the Triple H era doesn't book black wrestlers well, and MVP responded, "You see it too?" So, Krssi, what do you think?
I mean, there's no lie. There's never been a lie. They haven't booked us from forever. I'm just sorry. There's no lie. Sorry.
Where is Lashley, by the way?
I think Lashley's injured. Isn't he injured?
He's injured when he was working out or something like that, like training.
Yeah. Because he was supposed to be in the King of the Ring tournament, and then he got injured or something like that. WWE NXT this week, they were down huge. They had 542,000 viewers, their lowest viewership in the last couple of months. The show featured Trick Williams, Siobhan Evans, Ethan Page, and Shawn Spears had their NXT Heatwave contract signing for their NXT Championship matchup coming up this Sunday, where the babyfaces stood tall after putting the heels through tables. We had one of the best NXT TV matches of the year as Jada Parker beat Michin in an absolute banger of a street fight. You had Roxanne Perez and Lola Vice had a very interesting face-to-face promo off ahead of their Heatwave matchup, where Lola explained her journey and got very emotional, talking about her mother getting sick and wanting to make her proud by winning the NXT Women's Championship at the PLE.
Josh sounded like he wanted to spit.
He was going to give it a hot tui.
Well, he's the hot two girl. Hot.
Yo, Josh,
yeah, me would have been like more like fuck this.
That segment, oh my god, where was the tears? Like, why would you put her in that position? Oh god, what was the segment? I've never been in a segment where I'm watching wrestling television and my wifey comes in, and she usually craps on anything current, but she went on like a 5-minute rant. She was like, I don't know why they put these people on TV. They can't act. Like, she was going in on it. She was like, what is this? Why do you even watch this?
Yeah, it was not very good. And she's not a good talker. And I'm like, you put her in a situation where, again, this also doesn't fit like her character, right? Because I get it. Like sometimes you try to go like, try to be serious, try to go off script or whatever the case may be. But it's just that because the way you presented her and then you try to go this route, it didn't come off genuine. And then the fake crying made it even worse. And the fact that people were fooled by this too is just like, oh God, like you guys must have like low expectations if this really. Because holy shit, this was bad. It was just French as fuck.
He said developmental dog water.
That's what it was. And then on top of that, she was like fake crying, and then like she was like trying to dance too. I'm just like, what is she doing? At that point, she did it to herself. At that point, she did it to herself. I'm just like, why did you do that? Why was that a thing? Like, why did you? who gave you the good idea that said like, oh, that would be cool? No, it was cringe as fuck. I'm sorry, and you try to feel for like like the situation where she's talking about her mom. You try to feel for that, but like I said earlier, if it's bad, it's just bad. Like you just call it out. Like it wasn't good. Like you see the difference between KO segment talking about his situation compared to that. I mean, it's night and day difference. But there's a reason why. KO, it's a good talker, and he could pull that off.
It's different.
She's not a good talker, and you put her in that situation. And I get it. People are trying to defend it. Oh, but this is why NXT is development. Yes, it's development, but if they're not fucking ready, you don't put this shit on TV. You don't put it on TV. That's the whole point. You don't do that. And they put her in a tough situation. Yeah. Like it's very unfortunate, but again, it was not fucking good.
He's like, better than Wolverine says. Nothing stops a person from crying, like shaking ass.
Bro, that shit was like, and they did that meme. They posted like a video of like, oh, this was her, and like there was like a video of like a little girl crying, and the girl was like dancing too, like they were like making fun of it. And then I think they posted another video where there was a kid that got in trouble, and I guess like his mom gave him an option of, hey, do you want to get this ass whooping, or do you want me to record you dancing and I'll post it on the internet? They posted that too because the kid was crying. He started doing the Fortnite dances. They're like, oh, that's Lola. That's Lola Vice.
Absolutely, it was. In an interview with Talking Shop, All Ego, Ethan Page compared his time in the AEW locker room to how things have been since he signed with WWE NXT. And he said, and I quote, "Pretty crazy. I went from somewhere that was so chaotic and unorganized to a place that I'm still learning because I'm still so new here, but this is a machine and it's incredible. It feels good to not feel like I have to do everything myself, to have people that want to see me succeed. It's kind of mind-blowing." Krssi Love, you seem very strong about your feelings about it.
Why do people do this? Like, what do you gain from this? No one even says your name after you left. And now you want to shit on the people that you used to work for. It doesn't make it make sense, friend. Let's make it make sense. Oh, this is all so organized now. Shut the fuck up. Seriously, shut the fuck up. Like, come on. Like, I'm over it. Like, no one. First of all, who even asked him this fucking question?
Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, fellow WWE employees.
Of course they did. And that's what makes it worse to me. Like when it comes to like these kind of podcasts.
Nobody even fucking act. They be happy to even get on fucking TV for 2 fucking minutes. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Yo.
I mean, I've seen some people be like, "Oh, don't be too hard on him. He's not the first person to say this," but he needs to realize that, yeah, the people that have said this before are not the right people to follow. Correct. You should follow the Cody Rhodes way of doing things, the Jade Cargill way of doing things, where, yes, they left a certain place, but they don't badmouth it. They don't say it was unorganized. They say this is a machine. They just emphasize with WWE why WWE was the place for them, because they like it to be more organized. They like it to be the machine. I think Jade Cargill handled that question a lot better than Ethan Page did here. And I like Ethan Page, but I call a spade a spade.
That's what I'm saying. I like him too, but like, come on, like, guys, really, like, why we can't? Oh, how is it over there? It was worth it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Happy to be here. Yeah. You want to go over?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's just
you ask all these fucking questions. You might
it's
more if you go over there than being on NXT. Luke
it's
Anderson, foolish.
That's why it was like kind of like you know, again, people have different experiences when it comes to like certain companies, right, where they work at. The reason why I just didn't particularly, I was not in favor of this, is because of where he was at, the platform he was at. Like, he would have said this even like if he was on the Booker T's podcast, he probably would have done the same thing, because they're all employed with the same company. to me, that's where it comes off disingenuous. It's just like, like you're trying to do something that, of course, you're not going to say your real feelings because of where you're at, but it's like, bro, like what? And I get it. You're right. And like we all have said too, like, yeah, AEW probably should have done more with Ethan Page. At the same time, right? Ethan Page is his talking is his strongest point. His wrestling is not. So when you're in a company, when that happens, you're probably not going to be used as much because of that. It is what it is. I think he's a solid wrestler, but he's nowhere near what the top guys are. It happens, right? And I think that he's in a good place. Like NXT is it's a good move for him. And I think we don't disagree with that, right? We don't disagree with that aspect of like, yeah, he's in a better place. But to say, hey, it's a machine, I'm still learning. How the fuck do you know all this then? Because then what if tonight this weekend doesn't go like your way, and then what happens? Like if you get fucking mid-card status and then you probably don't get even used on TV, what do you say next? You said it was a machine. What happened? Right? And I think that's where he kind of just like shot himself in the foot when it comes to that. Because it's like, bro, you just admitted you just got there and you're still learning. So how do you know that this is like accurate? You know what I mean? That's why it was weird. Again, I still like Ethan Page, and I hope shit works out for him. And it's just like, I don't know. Me personally, I wouldn't have gone this route. And then also, you're just catering to all the fucking grifters on Twitter. They see it as some kind of W. We saw it in our chat yesterday. Like, oh, I'm happy for him. No, you're fucking not. You just posted that because he shitted on AEW. Like, let's just be real about it.
FIFO Select, our good friend Corey Brenner reports that Julia is not expected to be at Heatwave this weekend due to her obligations with Marigold, NXT Japan. However, she is expected to debut on the brand very soon. NXT and Marigold sources both stated that she is also currently not expected to make a video appearance at Heatwave or anything like that at this time. It is believed that Julia will feature in the next NXT PLE, which could happen as soon as SummerSlam weekend. WWE wants to get her on TV as soon as possible, but no, she has commitments to Marigold. She is also not currently cleared due to her wrist injuries, but it is believed she will be by the time she has a match with Saray next weekend, July 13th. So we will be discussing that on next week's Tru Heel Heat episode. It's believed that everything is on the table for how she could debut in NXT. The belief is that she will challenge for the NXT Women's Championship, but that's not a lock. And Julia did confirm that she signed with WWE during WrestleMania weekend. But that is all from WWE this week. And speaking of Marigold in Japan, let's head over to Japan very quickly, where New Japan Pro Wrestling finished off their Soul Tour. Day 6 of the Soul Tour featured an absolute banger as Yoshihashi beat Tomohiro Ishii in a tremendous main event, while Callum Newman of the United Empire defeated Kenta in a pretty good matchup himself to advance to the G1 Climax 34 A Block qualifier finals. Meanwhile, over in the B Block qualifier, you had Tai Chi defeated TJP in a great matchup, while Boltin Oleg pulled off the upset against the president himself, Hiroshi Tanahashi, to advance to the G1 Climax 34 B Block qualifier finals. Then on day 7, you had Boltin Oleg defeating Tai Chi in a very good matchup to qualify for the G1 Climax 34 B Block, becoming the fastest person to go from his debut matchup, which was just 2 years ago, to being a young lion to being in the G1 Climax 34 tournament. But bigger history was Callum Newman at 21 years old, becoming the second youngest competitor since Andrade as La Sombra to become a part of the G1 Climax tournament by beating Yoshihashi in a decent bout to qualify for the A Block. Meanwhile, you had Los Ingonables de Japón did battle in a great trios matchup that went to a 30-minute time limit draw as all 6 men put it all out on the line, especially Shingo and Tsuji, which I need to see that match ASAP, New Japan. And then in the main event, New Japan furthered their youth movement, furthered their new stars being made as Doki defeated El Desperado in a great main event to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. And man, El Desperado went from having the best week ever to the worst week ever, because damn, this was a quick title reign for him. I need them to start putting some respect on Despy's name. Can't be having him lose the title this fast. God damn. But New Japan has some news this week, as New Japan Pro Wrestling also announced the schedule for the events leading up to Wrestle Kingdom in January. This will include a whole week of events. Sunday, December 29th, Stardom will be at Ryogoku Sumo Hall for their annual year-end event. Then on Thursday, January 2nd, they do a festival of all the Japanese promotions that are associated with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Friday, January 3rd, will be the Wrestle Kingdom 19 kickoff event. Then Friday, January 3rd, will also be Stardom's New Year Dream Tokyo Garden at Tokyo Garden Theater. Saturday, January 4th, will be Wrestle Kingdom 19. Yes, Wrestle Kingdom on a Saturday this year. Sunday, January 5th, will be Wrestle.
Your sleep is not going to be that bad.
No, not that bad.
And you're on that side too, so it's even better. Will you still be there? Probably.
Oh, not that. No. The time is actually benefiting y'all in the U.S. because I think it's a 4 a.m. start for Wrestle Kingdom, but Wrestle Dynasty, the one with AEW and ROH, is going to start at 11 p.m. I think Eastern. I'm not sure.
Well, that's not too bad.
Yeah, so that's going to be at the Tokyo Dome on Sunday, January 5th. And then Monday, January 6th is New Year's Dash, their annual mystery card event. So a lot of big news from New Japan Pro Wrestling. I like New Japan embracing the youth movement because they need to make new stars. And the fact that Callum Newman and Bolton Ogling qualified for the G1 Climax, that was a big statement. The fact that Tanahashi and Ishii, for the first time since 2004, he's not going to be in a G1 Climax tournament. The iPod wasn't created when Hiroshi Tanahashi was last not in a G1.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
That's history right there. But finally, what we missed, we had TNA Impact this week. The show featured Joe Hendry, our boy, getting the win over Jake Something in a good main event, while Frankie Kazarian picked up the victory over Mike Santana via countout in a decent bout after interference from JDC for both Hendry and Kazarian to advance to the TNA World Championship 6-way main event at Slammiversary. Nick Nemeth was attacked from behind in a stairwell by presumably Frankie Kazarian. Jody Threat and Danny Luna went to a 10-minute time limit draw. After they agreed to 5 more minutes, TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champions Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich jumped both ladies to set up a title matchup. And then House Hardy, Broken Matt, and Queen Rebecca Hardy beat Eddie and Alicia Edwards in a solid mixed tag team matchup. And PW Insider had some updates on Impact after their TV tapings in Philadelphia. TNA officials were reportedly very happy with the attendance at the recent TV tapings. Saturday's second night of the TV tapings were reportedly sold out due to the Hardys' involvement and the NXT crossover. Additionally, PW Insider reports that there was a late spike in ticket sales in TNA due to Matt Hardy doing local promotion. And morale was reportedly very good in the locker room over the weekend. PW Insider also knows that Ash by Elegance missed the TV tapings last weekend due to being booked in Australia for World Series Wrestling. And lastly, PW Insider reports that the NXT crossover is expected to continue with TNA at Slammiversary. While it's unknown if WWE might allow a possible reunion of the Rascals in TNA, a WWE source said nothing is off the table as TNA and NXT continue to build their relationship. So TNA is doing well, AEW is doing well this week, WWE is still doing well as per usual. New Japan's doing well. It was a good week in wrestling, man. Look at that. Everybody's doing well. No one's, no bridges are burning down. So that's good news. We made it to the best and the worst of the week and match of the week, Krssi Love's favorite segment of the show. And we covered a lot of wrestling. So, guys, I have 10 matches this week. I'm sorry. I have 10 matches. it's a lot. It was a lot to cover, so I got to name them all. So my top 10 for the week, matches of the week. I'll start with Forbidden Door, number 10, Timeless Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa. That is the best love triangle storyline in professional wrestling history. I don't care what anybody says. Argue with your mama, but the match was really great.
It's great. Yeah.
Number 9, Mercedes Mone versus Stephanie Becker. Even though I do agree, Becker outperformed Mercedes. It was a great match overall, and the crowd added to it. Number 8 for me, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus versus Ilya Dragunov from Raw. Just an absolute banger those guys had. Number 7, Will Ospreay versus Daniel Garcia from Dynamite Beach Break for the International Championship. Great effort by Garcia against the best wrestler in the world right now. Number 6, TNT title ladder match from Forbidden Door. Jack Perry, Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Dante Martin, Leo Rush, and El Phantasmo. That blew Thunder Bomb. I'm going to be thinking about it all year. Number 5, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy from Forbidden Door. Just a brilliant technical wrestling clinic. Number 4, Bryan Danielson versus Pac from Dynamite Beach Break. Two of the best wrestlers just having an absolute excellent opener. Number 3, from New Japan Pro Wrestling Soul event, day 6, Tomohiro Ishii versus Yoshihashi. That might have been Yoshihashi's best match of his entire career. Number 2, Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi from Forbidden Door. Just another excellent matchup from Bryan, who had 2 this week. And number 1, someone else who had 2 excellent matches this week, a match of the year candidate. It's Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland from Forbidden Door. That's one of the best matches overall, and definitely probably the second best AEW match I've seen all year. Josh, we'll go to you next. Your matches of the week.
Matches of the week, I'm gonna go with top 5 this week. Number 3, the main event from Raw, the triple threat. Rabba?
They say you're gonna do 5, right?
Yeah.
So you said number 3.
Yeah, you said number 3. Oh, did he get a mic drop?
I'm saying like, no, because I'm so used to 3. So number 5 was the main event for Raw. Number 4, I'm gonna go with Mercedes versus Stephanie Becker, Forbidden Door. Number 3, I'm gonna go with the ladder match from Forbidden Door for the TNT title. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Shingo versus Danielson, and number 1, Swerve versus Ospreay easily.
Krssi, what about you?
Okay, I'm gonna try to get through 10. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Let's see how this is gonna work. I might not remember everybody's names, but I got the matches in my head. All right. Number 10 is gonna be the Raw main event.
Triple threat.
Yes, the triple threat match. Yes. Number 9, I am going to give it to DIY versus
A-Town Down Under.
Yes, thank you, Fred. Number 8 is going to Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. Shirakawa. There we go. Thank you. Number 7 is Mercedes versus Stephanie. Number 6 is Pac and Danielson. Number 5 is the ladder match.
The TNT ladder match, yeah.
Correct. Number 4 is going to be Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy from Forbidden Door. Number 3 is going to be from Forbidden Door, Danielson versus
Shingo.
Number 2, my number 2. Fuck. Damn, I was doing great.
You were on a roll.
Fuck it. Damn it. Also from my last 2 are all from Forbidden Door. From Forbidden Door is going to be was it damn it! Why did Will Ospreay and Swerve. That's my number one. What was number two? Fuck, I'm like got a brain, like I'm like lost right now. What is happening? I said Pac and Danielson, right? And then I did.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was it? Damn it, I can't remember right now. I had it.
Right.
I was,
It's all right. You gave us 9. That's a record. That's one of the records for you. So.
No, she's done 10 before. She's done 10.
Yeah. I said that's close to the record for.
Okay. Damn it.
So my best and worst of the week. Best week, I'm gonna give it to. This is tough. I'm gonna give it to MJF. He won on Forbidden Door, and then the awesome heel turn on Dynamite. And worst of the week. Who had the worst week? I'm gonna give it to. Damn, I don't know. Like I said, this was a good week for most people. I'm gonna give it to Tanahashi because he's cooked. But Josh, go ahead.
The best week, MJF. The heel turn was phenomenal, and we got what we wanted. We wanted heel MJF, and we got it. The worst week, easily for me, Dwayne Johnson. After that fucking documentary, Dwayne Johnson.
Wow.
Krssi Love, best and worst.
Best goes to Will Ospreay. Worst week goes to. Yeah, this is hard. I would give it to Drew McIntyre. Can't catch a break.
He won. Oh, you're giving him a preemptive, because of what's gonna happen tonight.
And what happened to him yesterday?
That's a good shout, actually. Safet, Lola Vice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Lola Vice. Okay. Yes. Yeah. That word. You're right. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Safet. I'll give it to Lola Vice.
Might be Lola. Speaking of which, final predictions. You know how we do rapid fire for this weekend show. We're gonna start with tomorrow night, Sunday. Toronto, Ontario, Canada is Heatwave, the pre-show matchup. You got Ariana Grace and Carmen Petrovic going up against JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. I'm going to go with Toronto's own Ariana and Carmen. Krssi, who you got?
Ariana and Carmen.
Josh?
I guess Ariana, I guess the home team, I guess. I don't give a shit about Ariana, to be honest with you.
That's all that is. So yeah.
NXT Tag Team Championships. Nathan Frazier and Axiom will defend against Chase U. I'm gonna go with Chase U because Nathan and Axiom haven't been getting along. Josh.
Chase U.
Krssi.
Yeah, Chase U. They're just showing like, well, why do they do this to them? I don't know, but whatever. Yeah, it's stupid.
For the NXT Women's Championship, Kalani Jordan defends against Sol Ruka. I'm going to go with Kalani to retain. Krssi?
Kalani to retain. She can't lose the first, PLE match as champ.
Josh?
Kalani retains.
For the NXT North American Championship, Oba Femi will defend against the greatest North American champion in history, Wes Lee. This is my dark horse pick to be the match of the night. I'm going with Oba Femi, though. Josh?
I think Femi retains.
Yeah, I was about to say, they can definitely take over for the show. However, I don't think they won't give it to Wesley as of yet. I think they're waiting for Wesley to be champ for the whole, NXT champ, not North American champ.
I feel you on that. NXT Women's Championship, Roxanne Perez against the aforementioned Lola Vice. I say Roxanne retains. She's waiting for Julia to come. Krssi?
Yep, I agree. Definitely, Roxanne has to retain. Lola can't even get through a promo yet, so she can't be a champ.
Josh?
Roxanne retains.
And then finally, for the NXT Championship, a fatal four-way matchup. Trick Williams defends against Javon Evans, Ethan Page, and Sean Spears. Ethan Page is already tooting the horn of WWE. It's time to get him to win. I say Ethan Page, new NXT champion. Krssi?
Oh, wow. Okay. that just threw a wrench in. I wouldn't be mad at that. Yeah, it's time for Trick. Yeah, Trick has been it for a while. It's been 4 months. Okay, yeah, give it to Ethan Page.
Josh?
I think Trick retains. I would say Ethan, but I think Trick retains for whatever reason. And if he does retain, I mean, it's not gonna look good for Page because I'm like, bro, you just came over and you talk about this is a great machine and you lost twice in the title match. So.
And then let's talk about tonight in Toronto. WWE Money in the Bank. First up for the Intercontinental Championship, Braun Breaker challenges Sami Zayn. I said on the preview show with Maggie and Spencer Love that Braun will probably get disqualified to continue this rivalry, but I'm going to go with my heart, and I'm going to go Braun Breaker, new Intercontinental Champion here. Josh?
I got Sammy retaining just because I think they're going to continue this. I don't think they're going to put the belt on Braun yet. They're going to keep building it up. I think if you build it up nicely, that's when he gets to win. But I think Sammy's going to retain.
That is fair. And Krssi?
See, Stephanie picked Braun, and she told me the reasons why. And I'm like, but I feel like it's too early for Braun. I don't think Braun should get a title right. Like, he hasn't even been on, that long. So I'm going to say Sammy retains. What are you going to say, SP?
I got Braun, new champion. Then we got the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. You're going to have Zoe Stark, Chelsea Green, Naomi, Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria, and Tiffany Stratton. It is Tiffy time, baby. I need my Barbie briefcase. Tiffany for the win. Krssi?
I have Tiffany winning, but I wouldn't be mad if Chelsea won it too. So I got a second. I got a second for Chelsea because the both of them having the Money in the Bank briefcase would be outstanding. Great heel work from the both of them. If you have Chelsea, she'll have Piper probably holding the briefcase for her, doing stupid shit. It'd be funny. But yeah, I got Tiffy with a pink briefcase.
Josh?
I think Stratton wins, and I also wanted to add that her fucking excuse on that IG story was just fucking stupid.
Oh my god, it was so bad. It was so. Just say sorry. Just say sorry. Like, she said it was an honest mistake. I didn't listen to the audio. Then why the fuck did you put laughing emojis?
Wait, what?
Because you knocked someone off the apron, like, for the Jade Cargo when she put black bitch for the Jade Cargo clip on social media. She said, "Oh, it was an honest mistake. I didn't hear the audio." But then why did you put laughing emojis?
What?
But she'll still win Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think she still wins.
Men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You got Jey Uso, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, and Drew McIntyre. I am going to go with the person with the best story. I'm going with Drew McIntyre here. Josh?
I'm going with Drew. I think Punk tries to screw him, but it doesn't work, and then Drew gets the briefcase.
Krssi?
Drew will win and cash in that same night. He's told you in the story already. He said, if I win, I'm cashing it in that same fucking night. So he will be, well, we'll go to the next one. Like, go ahead.
Next, we got the 6-man tag team matchup of Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu, because they told Tonga Loa, sit your infamous ass down. I am going with the Bloodline to win, and Solo pins Cody. Josh?
I got the Bloodline winning. I don't know if he pins Cody, but that would be interesting. I think that it would be needed for the match at SummerSlam. So I think Bloodline wins.
Krssi?
Bloodline for sure.
Absolutely. We're all in agreement there. And then finally, for the World Heavyweight Championship, Damian Priest defends against Seth freaking Rollins. If Priest wins, Rollins cannot get another title shot as long as he is champion. If Rollins wins, Priest must leave the Judgment Day. I got Priest winning by Finn Balor trying to make him lose to get him out of the Judgment Day, but accidentally helping him win, just like Priest tried to help him win last year, and he accidentally cost him the matchup. It's going to be a reverse of that. And then Drew McIntyre goes to cash in. He gets it cashed in, gives him the briefcase, only for CM Punk to screw him over in the end, and he loses to Damian Priest. And Drew McIntyre becomes one of 4 that have cashed in and failed. Krssi, who you got?
Okay, see, now you've just changed the whole spectrum of my scenario. Thanks, SP. Because I had it in reverse. I had Drew winning, then Seth winning, and then then Drew cashes in and beats him, and he becomes the new champion. That's what I got.
Okay. Josh?
But I don't know.
I got Seth winning. Drew tries to cash in and it doesn't happen. So I think I got Seth winning, being the champion, and I think that's the match they're gonna go with to SummerSlam. It's gonna be Seth Rollins versus Gunther for the title.
Yes.
Hey, that's a much bigger matchup for sure. I will say we do have a super chat donation from our good brother Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries. He says, in regards to my earlier super chat, I like Michin, but I feel like WWE have been doing her almost as bad as my girl Bailey. Am I over or underthinking this? I think that she's getting a lot of TV time, and I think that's all she wants. She doesn't have to win all the time, and I think that they're actually booking Michin better than Bailey right now, because Bailey is the WWE Women's Champion, but yet I need reminders of that. This past week SmackDown was the most that she got featured, with the backstage attack, then a promo backstage, and then the matchup. This is like the most she's been booked. Pushing it too far. Hello. You want to do one last run-in before we end it off?
Yeah.
I kind of see his point, but I also do see the other point. Like, yeah, she's getting more TV time. I think that's probably what she wants more. Because honestly, I don't think a world title is in her future for WWE. I just don't see it happening. Even though, I love Mia, like, she's one of my favorites, even outside of like wrestling. She's a cool person to hang out with, but I just don't see that happening.
And we also got one last super chat donation from Belle. Thank you so much, Belle. She says, oh, you see a spider? Sorry for the football commentary. The team pissed me off. It is okay, Belle. We appreciate you for joining us today and having us on the screen. But that brings us to a close on another edition of the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. Miss Krssi Love, I'll give you center stage first. Let everybody know where they can follow you.
Hey, friends. Thank you for joining us yet again for another episode. Join us here every Saturday, 11:05 a.m. for our flagship show, which is Tru Heel Heat. Other than that, you can find me on Fridays for Know Your Role, our Friday night SmackDown recap with my tag partner, Stephanie Hypes, on bodyslam.net. Serving Face and Heels, which is once a month. So we will probably give you that probably towards the end of this month or so, with Stephanie on Sundays. Then SP and I, or some of the other guys, we do our Power Review, which is on Monday for the sad mid-season review. Boo. Tomato.
Trash.
Trash. Throw in the garbage. Terrible. Other than that, you can follow me, IG, Krssi Love _1, Tru Heel Krssi Love, which is Twitter. And other than that, just follow me. That's it.
Josh, let everybody know where they can follow you.
You can follow me, JMPunk321, Twitter and Instagram. Wednesday, episode 100 for Elite Heat. I'll be on for that. And the following Saturday for another episode of Tru Heel Heat.
Yes, indeed. Support Josh on Wednesday for Elite Heat 100. We might make it open to our Patreon backers if you guys want to join Josh for that big edition of Dynamite with the finals of the Owen Hart Cup. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat. Patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat, $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not here. I don't believe we're doing a watch party for tonight. Romeo is busy, but me and Josh will be back here live tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern time, with our Money in the Bank review, breaking down everything that goes down tonight in Toronto. So join us for that and check out all the great content from this week. It's been a busy week on the Tru Heel Heat podcast, Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. We're going to have exclusive interviews dropping this coming week. We got Alicia Edwards of TNA, one half of the Knockouts Tag Team Champions, and a big interview. I'm going to keep teasing y'all until it's done. Then I'll make the proper announcement. When it's done, then I'll make the proper announcement. But it is a former WWE star will be talking to me this coming week. So stay on the lookout. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. But for Baby Seth, our producer, for Miss Krssi Love, for Josh, for Harlem, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 284, Forbidden Money Heatwave. We are signing off until next time.
Laters.